Chapter 81-81, Changes in the Palace of Middle Harmony. On the cusp of officially joining the cult and becoming a core disciple responsible for proselytizing, Zhongli decided to drop the act. He had gathered enough information for the moment, knowing the two conditions required to obtain the power of merit. The first was to kill, and the second was to believe that the respected God hidden was the only one. After hearing the storytelling of the story of Moksha's suffering, Zhongli found no reason to continue this charade with them. The sect hierarch. Why are you asking about him? I admire how the hierarch can have a good sleep and dream of the respected God hidden. I want to ask what kind of posture he uses to sleep. I'd like to give it a try. Insolence! Master Feng shouted angrily, as this man dared to disrespect the sect hierarch. Before he could finish his sentence, Master Feng saw Zhongli lightly press his hand. The space solidified. These people were unable to move, they couldn't even blink. It was not only the few people in front of Zhongli, but the entire secret terrain was solidified by him. Uncle Zhong, we haven't joined the cult yet, Ji Kongkong said, still eager for more. If you join the cult, your father will pursue me and try to hack at me, only to be beaten up by me in return. You wouldn't want to see your father in that state, would you? Ji Kongkong blinked his eyes, feeling that the scenario Uncle Zhong described was quite amusing. Come on, rewind time a bit, tell me where the killer you saw went after he came here. Ji Kongkong disappeared and reappeared, anxiously telling Zhongli, I saw that man come to the hall, rip through space, and then leave this place, ripped through space and left. Zhongli pondered. What Ji Kongkong said was straightforward, but this was not something an ordinary cultivator could achieve. Tearing through space could not take him directly back to the 9 provinces world, but required a long-distance flight in the void. Even a tribulation-crossing cultivator might not be able to safely return to the 9 provinces. There were only a handful of tribulation-crossing cultivators in the 9 provinces. Zhongli was well acquainted with all of them. Who could it be, or could it be a tribulation-crossing cultivator that he didn't know about? Going from the body integration realm to the Transcendence Tribulation SE Arch the Novelfire. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Stage required the experience of a cataclysmic celestial tribulation. The entire 9 provinces continent would sense this. It was impossible for someone to break through quietly. No, that's not right. There is one method. Zhongli suddenly remembered that the power of merit could directly elevate a body integration realm cultivator to the Transcendence Tribulation stage, bypassing the celestial tribulation. The celestial tribulation tests cultivators, while the power of merit rewards cultivators. Both can offset each other. Just as Zhongli realized this, Ji Kongkong continued to say, also, I saw the future. This place will become a void. As Ji Kongkong spoke, the entire secret terrain made a cracking sound and suddenly split open. This is bad. Zhongli instantly understood what was happening. He shielded Ji Kongkong, but before he could protect the higher-ups of the God-hidden cult, the secret terrain completely shattered and disappeared. The collapse of the secret terrain happened so fast that it was over in less than a blink of an eye. Zhongli only managed to protect Ji Kongkong. All the people and objects in the secret terrain were exposed to the void. Before they could scream for their lives, they were torn to pieces by the chaotic winds and left no trace behind. Only the mysterious figure of the respected God hidden remained intact in the chaotic winds, simply drifting with the winds. The secret terrain was equivalent to a small world, extremely tough. Even a Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivator would not be able to destroy the secret terrain in an instant. This can only be achieved if the opponent had planned it for a long time and made extensive preparations. Protecting Ji Kongkong, Zhongli's face darkened terribly. He planned to return to the 9 provinces, but his speed was slow. This was a conspiracy against him. If he were alone, he could easily return, but he had to protect Ji Kongkong in the chaotic winds, which slowed him down. The adversary had calculated that he would seek the Zhou family's help. There was no difference between Ji and Ji Kongkong. Both needed his protection in the void. The enemy didn't intend to kill him, just to delay his return to the 9 provinces. A protest against Yu Yan. A very interesting piece indeed, Zhao Nian. Empress Yu Yin sat high on her cold throne, overlooking the courtiers in the hall. Her slightly pale face was expressionless, devoid of joy or anger. A few hours earlier, the Minister of Rights had issued an order on behalf of Yu Yin to summon the officials to the Palace of Middle Harmony for a meeting. The Minister of Rights supported the former Tianyuan royal family. This could not have been Yu Yin's intention, but that of the former Tianyuan royal family. Everyone knew that this was to unmask the confrontation. The king's victory or defeat would be decided today. Despite the death of General Che-Wu, the army he brought back was still being mobilized by other generals who claimed they were acting on a royal decree. The authenticity of this decree, however, was uncertain. Officially it was a court meeting, but in reality, it was about taking sides. Sure enough, as soon as the meeting started, the Minister of Rights brought up the matter. He stated that people all over the kingdom had spontaneously posted a protest against Yuan. He read it aloud in the hall and finally loudly suggested that Empress Yuyin should comply with public opinion and return the throne to the royal family. He did not specify the former royal family. Please, Empress Yuyin, heed public opinion and return the throne to the royal family. Please, Empress Yuyin, heed public opinion and return the throne to the royal family. After the Minister of Rights finished speaking, several ministers echoed his words. Other ministers hesitated for a moment, then also joined in the chanting. The weakness of the Empress was apparent to all. Of course, there were also those who stood by and believed that if the Empress could withstand the rebellion and heal from her injuries, she would only become stronger. They didn't care who became the Emperor of Heaven Origin, they simply wanted to follow the strongest. Zhao Nian, are you planning a rebellion? The Minister of Personnel stepped forward, angrily accusing the Minister of Rights. The former royal family was weak and indecisive. Do you want such a person to be the Emperor? It's not about what I want, it's about what the people want, the Minister of Rights responded calmly. The Empress is cruel and unkind. It is appropriate that Prince of Peace, who has both firmness and flexibility, should be the one. Heed public sentiment. The Empress of Heaven Origin rarely smirked, and coughed lightly. She possessed a sickly beauty, but no one had the heart to appreciate it now. The Empress was indeed at her weakest. The Minister of Rights was relieved to realize this. Under normal circumstances, had he spoken such words, the Empress would have executed him on the spot. You don't represent public sentiment, nor do I care about it. The Tianyuan Emperor dynasty has stood for over 10,000 years in the 9 provinces. It has always been survival of the fittest. Since when do we heed to public sentiment? A handsome man donned in golden armor strode into the grand hall. The guards outside seemed to have no effect. It was the leader of the former royal family, the Prince of Peace, who was not allowed to attend the meeting. Zhao Nian, I told you long ago that the Empress wouldn't play along with this. We'd be better off resorting to arms. Prince of Peace, I couldn't agree more. The Minister of Rights showed respect to the Prince of Peace and bowed before stepping back. You're not qualified, anyone else cares to try. Yu Yin dismissed the Prince of Peace with a wave of her hand, unimpressed by someone who was also in the body integration realm. The Prince of Peace was furious. Since the Empress insists, how could Kong and resist your overwhelming force? With the Prince of Peace's command, figure after figure stood shoulder to shoulder with him. The Supreme Elder of the Five Thunder Orthodox sect pays his respects to the Empress of Heaven Origin. The Changqi King of the White Marsh Emperor dynasty pays his respects to the Empress of Heaven Origin. The sect leader of the Long Sky sect pays his respects to the Empress of Heaven Origin. The master of the Yunmengzi Lake pays his respects to the Empress of Heaven Origin. God's Might General pays his respects to the Empress of Heaven Origin. The Empress of Heaven Origin rose from her seat, her pale and beautiful face flushed with excitement. It was as if she was angry because of their betrayal, or excited because of their arrival. Chapter 82-82, Sky Origin. Chapter 82, Sky Origin. The million-strong army outside the city, at the command of God's Might General, assembled and entered the city, enforcing the discipline of the army as solid as iron, well-coordinated and highly trained. The citizens of the imperial city, upon seeing the army entering the city, dared not to stay outside any longer, quickly returning home, praying for the battle to end swiftly. Some curious ones, secretly punctured a layer of window paper, looking towards the direction of the palace. The palace has now become a place where storm clouds gather, the atmosphere alternating between clear and cloudy. Light turned into heavenly tribulation, darkness turned into thunder, moving between heaven and earth. A mist was rising, spurring rain, falling to the ground, forming rivers. Tigers with crimson wings were roaring in the rain while the tiles of the entire imperial city trembled, with even more divine figures striking the sky arrogantly, wanting to knock down the stars. Inside the Palace of Middle Harmony, 6 famed great divine power stage cultivators attacked Yu Yin, releasing a momentum that would instantly kill any ordinary person. The ministers who had the qualifications to attend the court session were all remarkable. They were not greatly affected, but they also didn't want to get involved in a battle of this level. Don't underestimate the fact that everyone is now in the body integration realm. The Empress could instantly reach the Transcendence Tribulation stage with the support of the national luck, and the Prince of Peace couldn't possibly lead a group of cultivators in the body integration realm to stage a rebellion without any means to counter the Empress. Eventually, there will definitely be a fight between the Transcendence Tribulation stages. By then, they won't be able to make their move. The ministers hurriedly retreated from the main hall, but 2 ministers remained in the hall. Minister of War, and Minister of the Ministry of Justice, both of them were in the body integration realm. You two, it's about to rain, won't you go out to avoid it? Seeing these 2 people stay behind, the Minister of Civil Affairs also chose to stay in the hall, standing in front of his 2 colleagues. Sun Yuan, do you think you alone can stop us? Sneered the Minister of Justice. He and the Minister of Civil Affairs, Sun Yuan, often had friction in court, and they disagreed with each other in their responsibilities. Everyone knew that, according to the tradition of the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty, the 2 were destined to fight sooner or later, and they hadn't thought that it would be today. SEAHTHE November ELF, IR.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The Prince of Peace is running the show, and the Empress's momentum is already gone. I'd advise Minister Sun not to struggle in vain. The Minister of War and the Minister of Justice attacked together, wanting to use the power of the 2 in the body integration realm to suppress Minister of Civil Affairs, who was also a cultivator in the body integration realm. If you 2 are blind to this extent, let me dig out your eyes to soak in wine. The Minister of Civil Affairs, Sun Yuan, was not afraid at all and acted against the 2. At the same time, the Prince of Peace and others chose to take the initiative, catching Yu Yin in surprise. The Supreme Elder of the 5 Thunder Orthodox sect acted as if he was executing celestial punishment. The energy of his 5 internal organs gathered into one, stirring up the power of heaven and earth, invoking a heavenly tribulation and piercing through the palace of middle harmony. Without the Ruyi Gord, my 5 Thunder Orthodox sect is the spokesperson of the heavenly tribulation. The master of the Yunmengzi Lake and the sect leader of the Long Sky sect also took action. They didn't dare to hold back anything against Yu Yin. As soon as they took action, it was a lethal blow. The mist was dreamlike, pulling people into illusion, suffering from the bitterness of life. The sect leader of the Long Sky sect had a tall illusionary figure flickering behind him, swinging his fist, and the tearing sound of air was heard. If it weren't for Zhang Li, the person in front of them would be the human emperor. No one would underestimate Yu Yin because they had more people on their side. Prince of Peace, don't forget about the territory you promised to give us when this is done. The Yunmengzi Lake and the Long Sky sect were both major sects of the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. They were not content with this and wanted to get a piece of land from the Prince of Peace, to become independent sects like the 6 major sects. The ferocious Beast King broke open his clothes, transforming into a winged tiger with a length of 1,000 yards, colorful and fierce, speaking human language. And me, don't forget to betroth your twin daughters to me. The Prince of Peace agreed promptly. Whether it was a territory or his daughters, they were all external objects. As long as he could become the Emperor of Heaven origin, everything was worth it. Long Sky sect disappeared without a trace before they even touched Yu Yin. None of the techniques affect her. Yu Yin lightly raised her slender hand, making the heavenly tribulation form a huge arc, returning to the sky, expanding with the thunder yet to fall, and exploding the thunderclouds. A mere mortal, you even dare to compare your counterfeit heavenly tribulation to the Ruyi Gord. The white hem of her skirt swayed as Yu Yin stepped down from the throne, revealing a section of her calf wrapped in white socks. Every time she took a step forward, an ascending force would form in advance, supporting her jade foot. 38 intersecting lines formed a chessboard, hovering in the air, remaining still. Yu Yin extended her hand to play. A white piece landed on the star position in the center of the chessboard, making a crisp sound. The chess of the national luck, the Tianyuan's move, this whole space will become her domain. She has not been injured at all. The Prince of Peace cried out in anger, and everyone seemed to be deprived of the ability to fly, falling to the ground. The national luck of the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty is a game of Go. The entire dynasty is a chessboard, and the kingdom's cultivators are the chess pieces. The process of cultivators fighting each other is the process of the chess pieces devouring each other. The more ferocious the chess pieces devour each other, the stronger the national luck. However, if the chess pieces devour each other too fiercely, it will lead to chaos in the entire country and disintegrate, causing the state to no longer be a state. This chessboard, which relies on the dynasty, disappears. The central star position in Go is also called the Tianyuan position. When a chess piece lands on the Tianyuan position, a space controlled by the master of the dynasty is formed around it. Tianyuan's game. I have no interest in warming up with you, said the Tianyuan Empress indifferently. She had just deprived these people of their ability to fly, and also frozen all the spiritual energy in this space. Apart from her and the Minister of Civil Affairs, no one could absorb it. If they do not fight quickly, the former emperor's party will face defeat due to the depletion of spiritual energy. At this time, the soldiers in the imperial city were arranged in formation, their breath connected, their spiritual platforms communicating, gathering without chaos, and orderly. They were full of fighting spirit, viewing Yu Yin in the palace as their enemy. There was an invisible clean air rising from the top of their heads, gathering on the God's Might General, elevating his power to the Transcendence Tribulation stage, even surpassing Yu Yin. Although I don't know who killed Che Wu, fortunately, we have God's Might General to fill his position, the Prince of Peace assured himself upon seeing the God's Might General take action. She's just a woman who didn't dare to fight for the human emperor's throne and withdrew directly. What is there to be afraid of? The Prince of Peace laughed heartily. Yu Yin's lack of injury was beyond his expectations, but it didn't affect the overall situation, they still held the advantage. Prince of Peace, why are you laughing? I heard that you and the Empress are of the same age, but you didn't even become a candidate for the human emperor. Now I am still trembling when I think of his title, Zhang, the human butcher. I don't know which embarrassing matter you are laughing at. Although the Minister of Civil Affairs was gradually at a disadvantage, he insisted on mocking the Prince of Peace a few words, even if he gets wounded. The Prince of Peace's laughter stopped abruptly. The place where the extraterritorial heavenly demon disintegrated was in the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. He watched from afar and saw Zhongli killing until he went mad and forgot himself. This sight struck fear into his heart and almost shattered his down-eared. No one dares to say this in front of him, but the Minister of Civil Affairs said it in public. He will definitely kill this annoying cheap guy after this. The Prince of Peace was burning with rage. The army is an important part of the dynasty. When the army rebels, a large part of the chessboard is missing, and the Tianyuan game will fall apart on its own. Even so, Yu Yin is still at the Transcendence Tribulation stage. She gently uttered a single word, kill, and rushed towards the God's Might General and the 5 cultivators in the body integration realm, whose momentum was even stronger than hers. Chapter 83-83, Transcendence Tribulation Stage. Chapter 83. Chapter 83. Transcendence Tribulation Stage S. EAH the NO circumflex ELFIRE. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The country's destiny is diminishing, and it's not merely affecting the chessboard, but also Yu Yin herself. Her Transcendence Tribulation stage is not as stable as the God's Might General's. What puzzled her was, the God's Might General used his army to progress to the Transcendence Tribulation stage, so theoretically, he should be weaker than herself, but why is he demonstrating such unusual strength? Though Yu Yin was unclear about the reason, it didn't slow her down. On the contrary, she became even more aggressive. Being a veteran in military, the God's Might General's combat experience had nearly become his instinct. Combined with the power of the God concealed within him, he had an overwhelming advantage against Yu Yin. Furthermore, there were the Prince of Peace and another 4 cultivators at the body integration realm. If the Transcendent stage is immune to all arts, then they will utilize other methods. The Prince of Peace invited the Chongqi King at the cost of his 2 daughters. Though Chongqi King's physical fitness is nowhere close to Zhang Konghu's, he was still capable of cross-hands with the Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivator. That was enough. The Supreme Elder of the 5 Thunder Orthodox sect once again exerted the 5 Thunder Orthodox techniques to generate the heavenly tribulation. Although titled a technique, it was closer to the Tao, not brushed off by every other method. Yu Yin had to act to dissipate the heavenly tribulation earlier, and that was evidence. The Master of Dream Lake brought out his meticulously refined heavy black water, 1 drop weighing 10,000 jin, yet he had a bowl of it. The sect hierarch of the Long Sky sect took up a huge hammer and swung it at Yu Yin. The Prince of Peace drew out the celestial measuring scale. This scale could gauge an enemy's weaknesses and launch tailored attacks. However, as he was only at the body integration realm, he could not accurately gauge Yu Yin's weaknesses, only vaguely. Also, he only knew spells, which won't work on Yu Yin. Only spells cast by cultivators at the Transcendence Tribulation stage can affect those at the same stage. Though the Prince of Peace couldn't directly attack Yu Yin, he could inform the God's Might General of her weaknesses. One of the 5 acupoints, Bai Wei, Tong Tian, Qian Ding, Cheng Guang, Sheng Xing, is not cultivated to the extreme. When her spiritual power revolves in a big cycle, there's a moment of stagnation. There's a problem with one of the 6 viscera. Her spiritual platform has. With each weakness the Prince of Peace identified, Yu Yin would suffer a targeted attack, causing her, who was becoming fiercer in battle, to start tiring. She was getting less and less able to cope with God's Might General's moves and the interruptions of others. Moreover, her realm was unstable, and the destiny was difficult to sustain her at the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Do you really think you alone can withstand us both? The Minister of War and the Minister of the Supreme Court kicked the gravely injured Minister of Personnel aside and hurried to the Prince of Peace. Both of them could see that the battle was nearing its end. If they did not join the real fight now, they will have no share in the rewards when it comes to discussing contributions and rewards later. Although not quite among the best in the body integration realm, the two of them were like the straw that broke the camel's back, causing Yu Yin to become defenseless. She fell back to her original peak of body integration realm without returning to the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Overjoyed, the Prince of Peace took his celestial measuring scale, intending to strike at Yu Yin's most vulnerable spot to disrupt her life energy. God's Might General, despite keeping his expressions in check, was obviously thrilled. He aided in the Prince of Peace's succession, seeking nothing but the satisfaction of defeating Yu Yin. He once considered himself a genius too, aiming to become the human emperor. Unfortunately, the 9 provinces' earth veins didn't give him the qualification for human emperor candidacy. From then on, his mindset changed. If he couldn't be a candidate for the human emperor, then he would defeat a candidate to prove the 9 provinces' earth veins. Judgment wrong. Zhang Li was a rival he was destined to not surpass. Bai Hongtu was a true cultivator at the Transcendence Tribulation stage that he couldn't overcome as well, so all that was left was Yu Yin, who asked her to neglect the development of her own strengths. Ended up having only the Minister of Personnel willing to help her. Yu Yin was hit by God's Might General, causing her internal organs to be in turmoil, her meridians flowing in reverse, bleeding vehemently. She looked even more feeble than when she was pretending to be ill. She was hanging by a thread. Despite the unprecedented danger she was facing, her heart was extremely calm. Ever since a long time ago, she had come in contact with a barrier, yet destiny always held her back, hindering her from advancing. But now, the barrier that has been blocking her for so long seemed as if it could break with a slight push. Even destiny couldn't stop it. The victorious laughter of Prince of Peace, the breaking air sound of God's Might General, the thunderclaps of the 5 Thunder Orthodox techniques, the furious howl of Chong Chi King, the despair of the Minister of Personnel. She closed her eyes, yet she heard more clearly than if she were seeing it. All the clamoring sound seemed to fade gradually, replaced by a clean, dustless spiritual platform. She imagined herself sitting cross-legged, harmonized with the spiritual platform in the heaven and earth. So this is what the real tribulation is. Yu Yin began to comprehend the true meaning of the Transcendence Tribulation stage. No wonder no one ever mentioned how to break through to this stage, because once that was said, one would never be able to break through to this stage. Even if a body integration stage cultivator knew the true meaning of the Transcendence Tribulation stage, and attempted to create a death sentence themselves and managed to survive it through any cunning means, they still wouldn't be able to break through to the Transcendence Tribulation stage. If a body integration stage cultivator doesn't choose to create a death sentence intentionally, when faced with one, they will still be unable to resist thinking that if they can survive the ordeal, they can become a Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivator. Even this is not acceptable. It's the same if any high-ranking cultivator deliberately creates a death sentence, hoping that someone will break through to the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Yu Yin suppressed herself with the fear of death, attempting to stimulate her potential to break through to the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Although her premise was incorrect, she inadvertently made the process correct. Breaking through to the Transcendence Tribulation stage was extremely difficult. Where would cultivators at the body integration realm peak encounter a death sentence? Even facing 10 people at the same level, they could still escape. That can't be considered as a death sentence. The Tianyuan Emperor dynasty was chaotic enough, and the arbitrary killings by the cultivators have only reached the nascent soul stage. Only a few cultivators at the divinity transformation stage die in a decade, not to mention the ones at the body integration realm. Breaking through to the Transcendence Tribulation stage also requires verification from the heart, which was easy for Yu Yin. Combating the heavenly demons from outside the world was a situation where the Transcendence Tribulation cultivators were most likely to die, but also where the body integration cultivators were most likely to advance to the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Prince of Peace was horrified to see that Yu Yin's weaknesses were rapidly decreasing, before finally disappearing altogether. As if in a flash, she seemed to have become a person of absolute perfection. How is that possible? He didn't want to believe it, and he didn't dare to believe it. There's only one type of cultivator that is flawless. The bright heavenly might descended, and the supreme elder of the 5 Thunder Orthodox sect was the first to be alerted. He abruptly looked up and felt an indomitable fear, like a counterfeit encountering the genuine thing. His hair stood on end. Everyone sensed something and looked up to the sky. A pinnacle cultivator was born at this moment. Bai Hongtu stood at the peak of the Tao sect, gazing in the direction of the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. Even though he could not see that far, he could also sense that a strong cultivator of the same level as him was about to appear. After waiting for so long, you are finally at the same level as me. The red dust fairy sat on the peach tree, her snowy white legs swinging back and forth as she too gazed in the direction of the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. The outside world seems interesting, but she herself was timid and didn't dare venture forth. What to do? Boom, the heavenly might changes into tribulation. Yu Yin formally steps into the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Chapter 84-84, Calculation. Chapter 84, Calculation. Yu Yin opened her eyes, her skin as smooth as jade, her eyes radiant, emanating an extremely noble aura with every move she made. No one dared to admire Yu Yin's beauty, as everyone felt a chill down their spines. The horror of a monarch in the Transcendence Tribulation stage was unimaginable to anyone. Among the 9 dynasties, only Yu Yin had reached the stage of Transcendence Tribulation. Run. No one spoke this word, yet everyone made the same decision and spoken. Yu Yin extended her fair fingers, gently pointing forward, constraining everyone but God's Might General. They couldn't move a muscle. A slight smirk crossed her face. No wonder Zhongli often uses this technique, it feels superb to execute. God's Might General grasped that escape was futile. Even if he could escape, his troops could not. Without his troops, he was merely a body integration stage, with no chance of escaping from Yu Yin, who keenly held the heaven origin land. He had no choice but to fight. Even though he was also in the Transcendence Tribulation stage, he possessed the strength but couldn't use any of the formidable powers at that stage. For instance, a Transcendence Tribulation stage could constrain space. Zhongli, the human emperor, and Yu Yin could, but he could not. Facing an opponent who just reached the Transcendence Tribulation stage and may still be adjusting, victory isn't entirely impossible if I leverage brute force. God's Might General was attempting to foster some confidence in himself. Yu Yin took away any hope of overturning the tide from God's Might General. She invoked the national destiny and conjured a fragmented chessboard. 4 tiles fell into place, summoning 108,000 different weapons that filled the entire space, above, below, front, back, left, and right. God's Might General was encased within an orb formed of blades, all pointed inwards. She lightly waved her hand and the 108,000 weapons zoomed towards the center. The weapons disappeared, leaving only a cloud of blood where God's Might General had stood. God's Might General couldn't resume life even from a single droplet of blood, a valued ability of a Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivator. He didn't even get the chance to reveal his significant status in the God-hidden cult and his possibility of making a great contribution. With God's Might General dead and no one to command the army, the chessboard made of national destiny was restored to its intact state. Word had already spread that Yu Yin had reached the Transcendence Tribulation stage. People in the Imperial City knew there would be no more surprises. They emerged one after another to pay homage to their queen. The previous battle had destroyed the palace. Yu Yin slowly rose into the air, accompanied by the Prince of Peace and 6 others. She intended to execute these 7 under everyone's watchful eyes. Everyone understood in their hearts, the queen ruled all under the heavens, rebels didn't deserve to live. Even their 9 familial connections were likely to be implicated. Not a single person from the former royal family would remain. The 5 Thunder Orthodox sect, Long Sky sect, and Yunmengzi would decline under the queen's suppression. The Minister of War and the President of the Ministry of Justice faced confiscation. As for the relatives of Emperor Baizi, they were happy to witness one less threat to the chaotic imperial court. As for the Minister of Rights and other ministers who had defected to the Prince of Peace's camp, it was uncertain whether only they would die or their 3 families or 9 connections would also be implicated. The Minister of Personnel, Sun Yuan, assessed the merit of a dragon's dower, and henceforth, he would stand above the rest. None of these events had taken place yet, but the subjects were well aware of Yu Yin's character. They revered her talent and knew that when she reached the stage of Transcendence Tribulation, all would be settled. This was the prestige of Yu Yin in the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. Without resorting to imperial intrigue, without lonely ministers, without forming cliques, and with just a few confidants, the Prince of Peace only then realized that Yu Yin was unlike any of her predecessors of the Tianyuan reign. She was more akin to the human emperor. The human emperor only pursued power and cared little for influences. All the predecessors of the Tianyuan reign understood that they couldn't hope to reach the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Consequently, they schemed tirelessly, wooed the group of ministers, and endeavored to maintain the authority of the emperor. The Prince of Peace emulated his ancestors, forming cliques and believing that the general trend was on his side. He now saw the light. In the face of absolute power, his little scheme was but a trivial plaything. Yu Yin executed the 7, leaving their bodies exposed. Sun Yuan, your loyalty is commendable. What are you doing? Just as Yu Yin turned to commend Sun Yuan, the Minister of Personnel, she saw him flashing a strange smile. Accompanying that was a formation that abruptly appeared, blanketing the entire imperial city. Yu Yin's pupils contracted, recognizing the origin of the formation. The Absolute Spirit Array. This was a lethal formation used by the demonic cultivators to annihilate entire cities or countries. Normally, it should be easy to detect such a major formation in the dynasty, but the Absolute Spirit Array was singularly located in a space parallel to the dynasty. Now that space merged into JoJo, the Absolute Spirit Array subsequently emerged within the dynasty. Sun Yuan, you deserve to die. The typically frosty voice unusually carried a hint of rage. It took several moments to activate the Absolute Spirit Array. As long as he was restrained, there was still hope to salvage the situation. However, Sun Yuan easily broke free, his aura resembling that of Yu Yin. He too was in the Transcendence Tribulation stage. How could he break through to the Transcendence Tribulation stage silently? Yu Yin was incredulous. When she had crossed over to the Transcendence Tribulation stage, the whole JoJo had sensed it. That was normal, but Sun Yuan managed to covertly break into the Transcendence Tribulation stage. This was impossible. There is no impossibility before the power of God hidden. Sun Yuan displayed a cruel smile. Absolute Spirit Array, initiate. The complex and ancient array slowly rotated. The lines interwove, stars changed, dragons and serpents seemed to rise, the world tragically overturned. Within 3 moments, not a single person remained in the dynasty. The city was filled by a mist of blood, and people vanished, leaving only their clothes, still standing upright and moving independently as if they were still wearing them. Immediately, the imperial city was transformed into a terrifying city of blood, clothes fluttering amongst the blood fog, creating an eerie sight. Soon, the blood mist dissipated, the clothes lightly fell to the ground, looking as if no one had ever been there. From the vice master of Tian Sha Pavilion at the initial stage of body integration to ordinary people in the Qi cultivation stage, no one could resist the Absolute Spirit Array, which Sun Yuan had been prepping for decades, leading to their instantaneous deaths. 8 million citizens of the kingdom, along with 1 million troops, a total of 9 million lives, had all vanished. Members of the cult could only kill 1,000 people. This was the rule set by Sun Yuan in the guise of the respected God hidden. He was afraid that someone might surpass him in cultivation through killing. Sun Yuan himself would not abide by such a rule. With the death of 9 million people, a significant supernatural force filled his body, bringing him to the brink of ascension. Die. Yu Yin was enraged and struck out, but she felt her throat sweeten, and she vomited a mouthful of blood, causing her aura to diminish. The disappearance of the kingdom and the army would bring unimaginable influence. Yu Yin was connected to the nation's destiny, and as the destiny deteriorated, she too was gravely injured. Madam Emperor, the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty respects the strong. Please abdicate. Witnessing tens of years of planning reap results, Sun Yuan could almost see triumph beckoning him. Engaging with Yu Yin, he held the upper hand. Even though Yu Yin possessed prodigious talent, it was impossible for her, just entering the Transcendence Tribulation stage and still not steady, let alone being severely injured, to defeat a Transcendence Tribulation stage about to ascend. Sun Yuan had calculated every detail in advance. Zhang Li, who should have been guarding Yu Yin, was not present. Other people who could hinder him couldn't reach here in time. After he would defeat Yu Yin and step up to become the new Emperor of Heaven Origin, through the chessboard of national destiny, he would lay down the Absolute Spirit Array covering the entire kingdom again. At that time, the power of God hidden would be enough to push him to the same realm as Zhang Li. He would become the second current Mahayana stage. Goodbye, Madam Emperor. Confident he was going to win, Sun Yuan was about to execute his final strike to kill Yu Yin when an iron fist gripped his wrist, preventing him from carrying out the attack. Shocked, Sun Yuan looked back to find an ashen-faced young man glaring at him. Arch the No circumflex El Fire. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It was Zhang Li, the Human Emperor. Chapter 8585900000. Chapter 85. Chapter 85900000. How could you possibly be here? Yu Yin found it unbelievable that Sun Yuan reached the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Furthermore, seeing Zhang Li appear here was even more incredible. He should be protecting the Ji family in the void. How could he be here? How did he return so quickly? He hasn't even reached the Mahayana realm yet. What about the Ji family? Did Zhang, the Human Emperor, fail to protect them and they perished in the void? Naturally, Zhang Li had no obligation to answer Sun Yuan's questions. As soon as he arrived, he understood what had transpired. The Absolute Spirit Array, the empty city. If there would have been a second possibility, it would have shown that he, an emperor well versed in the demonic arts, would have been entirely misguided. Although Sun Yuan was not a man of evil magic, he was even more despicable than such people. Zhongli grabbed Sun Yuan's neck with one hand and his wrist with the other, forcefully tearing off Sun Yuan's arm. Left arm, left leg, right leg. In just a few moves Zhongli dismantled Sun Yuan into a shape resembling a cudgel. The rebirth of the Transcendence Tribulation stage by blood drop. These injuries were not fatal to Sun Yuan, but he wished they were. Zhong, the human emperor, was so angry that he refused to let him die swiftly. Sun Yuan hardened his determination, making a swift move to twist his own neck and break free from Zhongli's iron grip. His spine sprouted swiftly, followed by his limbs and body. After regaining his original form, he turned and fled. The closer he got to the Mahayana stage, the more he realized Zhongli's terror. He had killed the people of an entire city, only to reach the peak of the Transcendence Tribulation stage. He would need to kill the people of an entire nation to become a Mahayana stage practitioner. The tremendous gap between the Transcendence Tribulation stage and the Mahayana stage filled him with despair at this moment. "Are you all right?" Zhongli came to Yu Yin, helped her up and gave her a greater revival pill. His face was expressionless throughout the process. Under normal circumstances, if Zhongli had seen Yu Yin defeated, he would have laughed and said something along these lines, always adding a sarcastic remark to the effect of how it was incredible that she managed to lose even after reaching the Transcendence Tribulation stage. However, now not only was Yu Yin on the brink of death, but also 9 million people had died, leaving no corpses behind. No matter what, Zhongli couldn't bring himself to laugh. 9 million people. That's the scale of destruction brought about by an invasion from the heavenly demons from outside the domain. It's no different. This was his failure as the human emperor. He felt that he had failed all the past human emperors. How could he face up to the claim that he was the strongest human emperor? How could he have the face to? Zhongli picked up a piece of red clothing from the ground. Judging from the size, it would have belonged to a lively, adorable little girl. Now, all that's left of her merriment is this piece of clothing. And there were 9 million similar circumstances. 9 million lives and squares dedicated to their memory. Zhongli's heart was trembling. He even wanted to cry. "Don't let Sun Yuan escape," Yu Yin urged anxiously. "Escape?" Zhongli folded the red clothing neatly and placed it to one side, laughing coldly. "Where can he escape to in the face of heavenly tribulation?" The November Elfire. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Yu Yin raised her head and noticed that dark clouds were unknowingly shrouding the land. The area was smaller than when she reached the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Only the Imperial City could sense it. However, this was the most terrible heavenly tribulation known. She had only seen Zhongli go through it. The Ascension Tribulation. "Master, are you all right?" The Rui gourd floated into Yu Yin's arms crying, "That man almost killed the master. Watch me use the Ascension Tribulation to smite him to death." The mouth of the Rui gourd opened, and a small white fish came out. The white fish transformed into a human and threw itself onto Yu Yin. "Aunt Yu Yin, are you all right?" As the 19th princess of the Zhou dynasty, she naturally recognized Yu Yin from the neighboring kingdom. When Zhongli was in the void earlier, he had Ji Kongkong transform into a small white fish and dive into the Rui gourd. He needed to protect Ji Kongkong, but he did not need to protect an immortal artifact. Without needing to protect Ji Kongkong, Zhongli could quickly return to the 9 provinces. Sun Yuan truly couldn't escape. Wherever he went, the Ascension Tribulation would follow. The enormous pillars of lightning reduced him to a charred state. He couldn't display any of his abilities from the Transcendence Tribulation stage. All of them were ineffective in the face of the Ascension Tribulation. The Ascension Tribulation is a test for cultivation masters. It could only be endured stoically. "Sun Yuan, are you prepared to die?" Zhongli stood quietly behind Sun Yuan, his presence causing Sun Yuan's skin to crawl. Under the Ascension Tribulation, their powers doubled. Sun Yuan was severely injured, while not a hair on Zhongli's body was hurt. No, I don't want to die. I know a lot of things. I can tell you how to obtain the power of God hidden, how to become stronger. You will become even stronger. You may not know what the power of God hidden is. Look, I use the power of God hidden to go from the peak of the combined stage to the peak of the Transcendence Tribulation stage. With this power, we will no longer fear the heavenly demons from outside the domain. As long as you can spare my life, I will tell you how to obtain the power of God hidden. Sun Yuan spoke without picking his words, trying hard to show his usefulness. "Do you understand me?" Zhongli suddenly asked a question, leaving Sun Yuan unprepared. "I asked you if you understand me." Zhang Li's fierce glare caused Sun Yuan's legs to tremble. Of course, I understand you. You're the just and selfless human emperor, the guardian deity of the 9 provinces, Sun Yuan didn't know what kind of response would satisfy Zhang Li. He had never interacted with Zhang Li, and the Sky Mechanism Tower didn't sell information about Zhang Li. How was he to understand Zhang Li? He could only share things everybody knew. Not you. Zhang Li shook his head regretfully. Sun Yuan didn't understand him. He wasn't the one scheming against him, only someone who understood him deeply could strike with such precision. He already had a guess in his heart, but he didn't want to believe it. What's your position in the God-hidden cult? Vice Sect Hierarch. Both God's Might General and I are Vice Sect Hierarchs, but he doesn't know me, I know him. Sun Yuan was surprised that Zhang Li knew about the God-hidden cult. He felt a chill in his heart, feeling that his value was greatly diminished. It's the Sect Hierarch, yes, it's all the Sect Hierarch's fault. He said you were currently protecting the Ji family and couldn't be bothered with this place, so I could act without worry. No, I had no peace of mind, not at all. It was the Sect Hierarch who told me to do it. Sun Yuan rushed to absolve himself of responsibility. Who is the Sect Hierarch? I don't know, the Sect Hierarch has never revealed his true self. What about the respected God Hidden? I don't know, the Sect Hierarch mentioned the respected God Hidden. Zhang Li no longer asked questions, implementing the hard sword, repeatedly slicing into Sun Yuan. His skin was intact, but internally he was riddled with holes, but the special ability of the Transcendence Tribulation stage, the Blood Drop Rebirth, continually healed him. The Ruyi Gourd also helped out, employing various heavenly tribulations. Heart Demon Tribulation, Hell Tribulation, Reincarnation Tribulation, the 8 Miseries Tribulation, etc. These heavenly tribulations did not harm the physical body, but targeted the spirit. For instance, the Reincarnation Tribulation, that caused him to continually reincarnate as one of the 9 million citizens of the Empire, continuously dying and being reborn. For instance, the 8 Miseries Tribulation, which let him experience the sorrows of life, old age, sickness, and death in his spirit, the pain of parting with loved ones, the pain of meeting those you dislike, the suffering of seeking but not obtaining, and the suffering from the excessive burning of the 5 aggregates. Sun Yuan was unable to die despite wanting to and unable to live despite wanting to, his continuous screaming, too scared to face reality with open eyes and too scared to close his eyes and experience the heavenly tribulations. Finally, Zhang Li extracted his soul, refining it into ashes. Chapter 86-86, Not Yet Seen the True Buddha. Chapter 86, Not Yet Seen the True Buddha. Sun Yuan lost his soul and his body fell to the ground, making a rumbling noise similar to a meteorite striking the 9 provinces, causing the earth to mildly tremble. Zhang Li handed over the corpse to Yu Yin, leaving its disposal to her. Whether she chose to refine it into a puppet or incinerate it in anger, he didn't care. Yu Yin gazed at the emotionless Zhang Li, biting her cherry lips, her expression complex. She had risked her life and put in a lot of effort to finally break through to the Transcendence Tribulation stage, yet Zhang Li could easily kill a peak Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivator, who had no power to resist. Was the Mahayana realm truly so powerful? She, in her contemporary state, possessing the power of the nation and armed with an immortal artifact, could she confront Zhang Li for more than a few moves? Maybe 5 moves, or perhaps 8. Ultimately, Yu Yin couldn't imagine herself intersecting with Zhang Li for more than 10 moves. Zhang Li glanced at Yu Yin, noticing her unsettled state but didn't say anything. Unlike the saint's pure heart, he knew Yu Yin's directive and determination were pure. Having experienced betrayal and failure and recognizing the gap between them had shocked her and caused her hesitance, but he believed a few days of quiet contemplation would enable her to break through this heart barrier. Zhang Li then returned Ji Kongkong to the Great Zhou. Ji sensed a chilling terror upon seeing Zhang Li's expression. Since becoming the human emperor, Ji had never seen him with such a gloomy and unsightly expression. Though appearing calm on the surface, everyone could sense that beneath this calmness was a devastating fury. Zhang Li simply set down Ji Kongkong and flew off without uttering a single word, while Ji didn't speak either from beginning to end. Ji knew, a storm was brewing in the 9 provinces. The Buddhist monastery was located in the far west of the 9 provinces, and the air was permeated with the influence of Buddhist law. The land even radiated a faint glow, especially noticeable at night. Right next to the monastery was a country named Lishan Country. While it didn't rank amongst the 9 major empires, it was quite formidable. Perhaps due to the proximity of the monastery, the inhabitants were poor but content, and often one could see skinny old people with a house full of offsprings, enjoying the pleasure of family life. Any random person stopped on the road could recite a segment of Buddhist scripture for you or even impart a few teachings, enabling you to understand the most basic concepts of reincarnation, karma, universe, 3,000 worlds, and so on. Old-timers tell of a legend that underneath the Lashan country, a colossal golden, swastika, character is buried, a national treasure of Lashan country. Some people who believed in this legend dug very deep, but found nothing. Eventually, they reached a layer of extremely hard soil that they could no longer dig through, so they reluctantly gave up, declaring failure. SEARH The Novelfire Nati website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lashan country is like a subsidiary country of the Buddhist monastery, and the whole country follows Buddhist teachings. Each household has Buddhist images, and people believe in the retribution of good and evil deeds. They believe that suffering in this life is retribution from the previous life, and that doing good in this life will lead to a peaceful end in the next life. Ordinary cultivators are unable to comprehend the essence of Buddhism, thus, they can't comprehend the way Lashan country functions. Therefore, there are very few cultivators who travel to Lashan country. Even the merchant group from the Sky Mechanism Tower is reluctant to come here. The people here are free from desires, thus no one frequents the Sky Mechanism Tower to buy information. Zhang Li walks through Lashan country, measuring the depth of the influence of Buddhist law. He sees many people heading in the same direction as him, towards Mount Sumeru. The difference is that he is walking there, while the citizens of Lashan country are crawling there. With each step they take, they kneel and kowtow towards Mount Sumeru, then rise and take another step, repeating the process over and over again. Every day, eminent monks give lectures at Mount Sumeru, interpreting the mysteries of Buddhism. Everyone is welcome to listen, and there are no prerequisites. However, few cultivators who appreciate Buddhism attend, as they find it dry and difficult to understand, feeling that they can't increase their cultivational base even after listening, thus considering it a waste of time. Zhang Li ascends Mount Sumeru one step at a time, without using any mana, intending to walk up all 100,000 steps of Mount Sumeru. The steps of Mount Sumeru are special. If one uses mana, the ascent is easy, but if one doesn't use mana and relies only on physical strength, each step feels like carrying a mountain. By the time one finishes climbing all 100,000 steps, it's akin to carrying 100,000 mountains. Legend has it that this is a test left behind by the Buddha. One who walks up all 100,000 steps using only physical strength will be able to meet the real Buddha. Some Buddhists have tried, but none have managed to climb more than 3,000 steps. Zhang Li used to not believe in this legend, but today he wants to give it a shot. He reveals his real face, startling all the high monks who are comprehending the Buddhist law. They leave their own temples one after another. They are not sure what the current human emperor intends to do, so they want to see for themselves. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Zhang Li easily broke through the 3,000 steps barrier that obstructed countless people. He ascended each step stably, but also lightly, showing no signs of the resistance Mount Sumeru was imposing on him. 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 The high monks look at each other, seeing shock in each other's eyes. The current human emperor found no difficulty in ascending 20,000 steps. The high monks no longer maintain their usual posture of deep meditation, and start discussing among themselves, what does the current human emperor want to do? Does he have any doubts and seeks answers from the real Buddha? The real Buddha has nothing to do with the ascended immortals. Real Buddha refers to those who are enlightened, those who, apart from opening their six senses, also open their seventh and eighth senses, the manas and alaya. They remain indestructible, like a diamond, always showing their nature of pure and nirvana true suchness. That's why most cultivators don't want to listen to Buddhist teachings. It's too hard to understand. However, even if cultivators don't have a deep understanding of the Buddhist system, they know that there's a current real Buddha and a future real Buddha in Buddhism. The current real Buddha is the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru. His almost 10,000-year lifespan makes him the oldest existence in the Transcendence Tribulation stage, and his mastery over the Tao of space is unparalleled throughout the 9 provinces. He has often stepped in to assist during the battles against the heavenly demons. The future real Buddha is Wu Ji, who possesses profound wisdom, making even the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru feel inferior. 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 The number of steps seems meaningless to Zhang Li as he ascends each step emotionlessly. 80,000, 90,000, 100,000. Zhang Li mounted Mount Sumeru using only physical strength, accomplishing an unprecedented feat, but he didn't feel any joy. The legend is false. Even after ascending 100,000 steps, one can't see the real Buddha. Furthermore, subhuti, if a virtuous man or woman receives, upholds, reads, and recites this sutra, and is despised by others, this person's negative karma from previous lives that would cause him to fall into the bad paths have been eradicated. Despised by people in this life, his previous negative karma is thus eradicated and he will attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. The old Buddha of Mount Sumeru is tall, with thick lips, long ear lobes, and an aged but radiant face. His muscular body and the bulge on his head are symbolic of the 32 marks of a Buddha. He sits barefoot and topless on a golden lotus, the thumb and forefinger of each hand touching each other in a circle, as he imparts the Buddhist law to his disciples. The disciples listen with rapt attention until the voice of old Buddha suddenly stops. Good indeed, as Master Zhongli, what matter perturbs you so much that you appear on the verge of shedding tears? The disciples look on in wonder to see the contemporary human emperor, his face twisted as if he has just seen a respected figure commit an unforgivable crime and he must kill them himself. Old Buddha, tell me, how did you become an immortal? Zhongli climbed to the top of Mount Sumeru, not seeing the real Buddha, but an immortal who fed on humans. Chapter 87-87, Heavenly Tao is Demon Tao. Chapter 87, Heavenly Tao is Demon Tao. To become an immortal, there are 3 steps: cultivating to the peak of the Transcendence Tribulation stage, passing through the immortal Ascension Tribulation, and transforming all one's spiritual energy into immortal power. The immortal Ascension Tribulation cannot be passed quietly. One cannot cross the tribulation in just any secret place. If the secret place does not have the right position, the immortal Ascension Tribulation will not descend. Immortal power is definitely manufactured from spiritual energy, but no one knows exactly how it is made. This is the basis for the existence of the immortal realm. It is impossible for long-living immortals to know. Old Buddha, tell me, how did you become an immortal? The old Buddha's light is restrained, his flesh is full, he has a lifespan of 10,000 years in the Transcendence Tribulation stage. He should have been old, but now he seems full of vigor, as if he still has a lot of lifespan left. Zhongli has seen many ancient books describing immortals. He has also seen 2 true immortals, the long-living immortal elder and the red dust immortal maiden. He can tell that old Buddha has truly become an immortal. Becoming an immortal in the 9 provinces without going to the immortal realm. Even without seeing it in person, Zhongli was 8% sure that the shadowy figure behind the scenes was the old Buddha. He first encountered a divinity transformation stage elder of the God-hidden cult. When the figure behind the scenes sensed something was wrong, he went to the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty and killed General Che Wu. Being able to witness all of this without Zhongli's knowledge indicates that the figure behind the scenes is proficient in the laws of space. Ji Kongkong mentioned that the shadowy figure suddenly appeared behind General Che Wu and killed him, a cultivator at the body integration realm, with a single blow. This indicated that the figure was either a peak cultivator at the body integration realm or in the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Later on, the figure led Zhongli and Ji Kongkong to the secret sanctuary of the God-hidden cult and destroyed it. The calculated move showed the person behind the scene was familiar with Zhongli. The old Buddha, as the second oldest person in the 9 provinces, has been approached by Zhongli many times for cultivation guidance, asking about the nature of past human emperors, seeking help finding the immortal realm, and scrutinizing the path leading to other worlds generated by the system. And then there is the whole set of the God-hidden cult. The proficient way of spreading the teachings indicates that the figure behind the scenes is familiar with the proselytizing methods. Zhongli had met Sun Yuan and heard Yu Yin talk about the battle with God's Might General. Neither of these 2 displayed any spatial technique, indicating their unfamiliarity with spatial law. So, how has the space where the obliteration array is located managed to perfectly parallel the 9 provinces world? All these things could be explained by someone Zhongli doesn't know, who mastered the laws of space, a mighty being in the Transcendence Tribulation stage, or a heavenly demon infiltrating the 9 provinces. Therefore, Zhongli believed that there was only an 80% chance it was the old Buddha. But now, seeing the old Buddha has become an immortal, that 80% probability turned to 100%. During the second ritual of the God-hidden cult, Zhongli saw a few priests kill a God transformation stage cultivator and share the merit evenly. At that time, he was wondering whether he could gain merit by helping to kill someone, or conversely, if every time the disciples killed someone, did the founder of the God-hidden cult gain merit. He had just made a guess then, but when he met Sun Yuan and then the old Buddha, everything became clear. The sect hierarch could indeed share the disciples' merit, and even take the greater part, leaving only a small portion for the disciples. The power of merit can transform decay into miracles, and it could irrationally transform spiritual energy into immortal power. Master Zhang, you jest. By serving the heavens and doing good, one naturally becomes an immortal. The old Buddha smiles, acknowledging he has become an immortal. His disciples are shocked. Even his most favored disciple, Wu Ji, is surprised. Zhongli steps towards the old Buddha, his momentum rising with each step, as if he is a spear piercing through the sky, extremely sharp. I know that the old Buddha has fought the heavenly demons many times, with outstanding war achievements and has done many good deeds, but I wonder if merit has been granted for these good deeds. Seeing Zhongli in this posture, the Buddhist disciples all move out of the way. They still have no idea what's happening. When did the old Buddha become an immortal? And why is the human emperor angry? Kill countless, gain countless merit. Master Zhong, why are you asking when you already know? Old Buddha clasped his hands together. Master Zhong is also proficient in Buddhist law, why not see if I have any? Karma. Old Buddha's expression subtly changes. He seems to be smiling and crying at the same time. Those who understand Buddhist law would know that to practice it, the most important thing is to do good deeds and not kill innocents. Otherwise, karma engulfs you, and the red lotus of karma will sear your heart, causing unbearable pain. You would have to do a multitude of good deeds to absolve it. The previous disciple accidentally killed countless people and was beset by karma. Even a lifetime could not rectify the situation, leading him to become a devil from a Buddha, falling into the demonic path. Master Zhong, the sky is changing. The heavenly Tao is now the demonic path. Quote, Zhong Li was silent for a moment. He wanted to rebuke the old Buddha, yet he didn't know how to do so. Why do you want to become an immortal? The old Buddha smiled faintly, as if laughing at Zhong Li's silent mockery, and at himself. Master Zhong, if I don't become an immortal, I would only have 3 more years of life left. I don't want to die. Doesn't Buddhism preach the retribution of cause and effect in this life and the next? If you do good deeds in this life, you'll enter the realm of heavenly beings in the next. Old Buddha, haven't you broken through the cycle of life and death? The old Buddha got agitated, no longer sitting in meditation, he abruptly stood up. He was tall and robust, more than 2 meters tall. Next life, next life, next life. Of course, I haven't broken through the cycle of life and death. What's the use of being a heavenly being in the next life and enjoying the ensuing blessings, if I am dead in this life? Dead. Why should I do good deeds for the next life? Then what about myself in this life? Is the meaning of this life just for the next one? Zhong Li, answer me. All the disciples were dumbstruck. They had never seen the old Buddha this disturbed before. No, this could already be described as madness. Wu Ji clasped his hands together, his lips trembling slightly. His senior disciple, curious, listened attentively and found out he was actually reciting the rebirth mantra. Since you live only for this lifetime, let's settle the account for these 9 million people. Zhong Li finally understood why the old Buddha forcibly assisted Sun Yuan in activating the obliteration array. In theory, he could have transferred the location of the array, abandoned the God-hidden cult, and started over. But he didn't have time. As Zhong Li spoke, he kept walking until he stood before the old Buddha, looking up at the elder he had once respected. Old Buddha, no one wants to die. You don't want to die, neither do the 9 million people of Tianyuan. So, it really is like this. The old Buddha sighed reluctantly. Zhong Li, do you search the novel Fire? Ada at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. I'm why I didn't tell you how I learned to get the power of merit from the heavenly demons after I got it. Because our ways of thinking are indeed different. Quote, real Buddhism speaks of sacrificing oneself to save all living beings. I can't do it. Only you, human emperors, can do it. Below Lashan country, the R+ or minus character is shining golden, extremely dazzling. The Lashan country rapidly shrinks and appears in the old Buddha's hand. The people in the country have nowhere to be seen. This is something that the dream dwellers could never achieve, even in their death. The Lashan country was never real to begin with, the people were all illusions. However, these illusions were too real, they felt and reacted as if they were real, indistinguishable from reality. Even those at the body integration realm couldn't see through the illusion. A Buddhist great divine power that combines the ways of illusion and space. Buddha land in Palm. Chapter 88-88 Buddha land in the Palm. Chapter 88. Chapter 88 Buddha land in the Palm. Everyone in the world knows that all citizens of Lashan country believe in Buddhism and that it is the top country that supports it. Yet, they don't realize that this country with a history of 9,000 years is merely an illusion created by a divine skill, and not even the citizens themselves know they don't actually exist. In contrast to the enormity of the old Buddha, his palm extended to infinity, with crevices that resembled deep ravines. Even Zhong Li could not see its end. A golden, 0 meters, character descended upon him, enveloping him. The first move of Buddha land in the palm, reincarnation. Zhang Li became the king of Lishan country. It was as if he had been through rebirth and forgot everything, devoting himself entirely to the duties of a king. His honest and impartial style of governing, his letting by example, his selection of capable people, all of this endeared him to the common people, and the national strength gradually increased, with neighboring countries inevitably capitulating. However, even he had a moment when life would run its course. He became old, fell sick, and was on his deathbed. An official came back from a trip with hopeful news for Zhang Li. King, I have found a secret recipe from the Buddha. As long as you kill 10,000 people, you can reverse life and death, extending your lifespan. Under Zhang Li's rule, Lishan country was peaceful, kindness was practiced by everyone, and there was not even one prisoner waiting for death. Where could he find people to kill? King, you can kill the people. The death of 10,000 people exchanged for a wise king will make our Lishan country even more powerful. When I have to kill 10,000 people, I would no longer be a wise king. Zhang Li rejected the proposal of the official and ordered that the secret recipe cannot be let out. He then passed away painlessly, leaving the entire country in deep sorrow. Zhang Li was reborn as a common citizen of Lishan country. He did not remember that he was the human emperor, only that he was a king in his past life. He was shocked to discover that Lishan country was not the same as he remembered. People were turned upside down, everyone trying to kill each other. The official did not follow Zhang Li's order. The secret recipe had spread, and the current king believed in it, killed 10,000 people, and did revert back to his youth. When the citizens saw the secret recipe was effective on the king, they also did not want to die. They wanted to kill others for their own longevity, causing disorder in Lishan country. While a king of high power needed to kill 10,000 people to reverse life and death, an ordinary commoner only needed to kill one person to live for another 100 years. EAH circumflex EFIRE. Ada at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Zhang Li walked in Lishan country, witnessing fathers killing sons, sons killing mothers, couples turning against each other, and neighbors being alienated. He said nothing, did nothing, he just walked. Suddenly, an old man grabbed his sleeve, shaking and holding a pig-killing knife, pleading, "Young man, please, let me kill you." The old man was too old. He couldn't kill anyone, and he could only be qualified to be killed. He hid in a dark place, saw Zhang Li's kind face, and asked for his help. "Old man, why do you want to live forever?" The old man had never thought about this question, he was stunned. Seeing the old man did not answer, Zhang Li answered himself. There are too many beautiful things in the world. Family love, romantic love, friendship, money, beauty, power. Lifetime is not enough to enjoy them. I want to enjoy these things then. I want to live forever. Young man, may I kill you? Zhang Li smiled and asked, "Where can you enjoy these things?" The old man was bewildered. In the past king's reign, these beautiful things were everywhere here, but under the rule of the current king, there was only death and betrayal. Yes, even if he did survive, what could he do? Survive, and then? Zhang Li sighed, killing people for longevity, this world is already in turmoil. Then what should we do? In actuality, the old man did not like the current Lishan country either. Living was more troubling than dying. If the heavenly Tao wants to bring chaos to the world, and the superior does nothing, there is no way around it. Zhang Li shook his head. If I were a strong man, I would rule the country with tyranny and iron fist and restore order. But now, all I can do is talk. Then when you are about to die, wouldn't you choose to kill others to live? You are already the strongest being, the most respected being in the world, wouldn't you be unwilling to die? Unwilling? Zhang Li asked with a smile, what is my purpose of being strong? To restore order. Then what would it be if I killed for survival? To break the order. Yes, if I killed people, it would not be me changing the order, but the order has changed me. The old man bowed to Zhang Li after hearing those words. I'm enlightened. Help me do one thing, Zhang Li said. Please tell me, sir. The old man's attitude towards Zhang Li became extremely respectful. If you can live longer by killing, what would be the result of committing suicide? Would you resurrect, or would you die? I don't know. Zhang Li nodded, neither do I. Let's give it a try. If I can still live after committing suicide, you don't have to do anything. But if I die after committing suicide, please tell everyone about this, and say that heaven wants the world to fight and die for each other. Before the old man could react, Zhang Li took the pig-killing knife from the old man's hand, pointed it at his heart, and stabbed it in without hesitation. Died a quick death. Seeing Zhang Li fell down, the old man hastily carried out Zhang Li's instruction. The news was sent out. The old man, who was old and weak, was soon targeted by others and killed. However, even though the old man died, the news was spread out. It spread out like wildfire, spreading all over Lashan country. Those who learned about this realized, humans can reproduce, and killing each other cannot prove that heaven wants to exterminate humanity, but the fact that there is no resurrection after committing suicide can prove that heaven wants to drive humans mad and then destroy them. Heaven might want to destroy mankind, but that doesn't mean mankind will give up. Some people formed a resistance army, determined to bring back a pure vanilla Qian Kun. The resistance army was fully armed and ready to go. They held a farewell banquet, slaughtering cattle and eating meat, drinking alcohol to gain courage. They went on an expedition to overthrow the current king and restore order. Among the cattle slaughtered by the resistance army, one was Zhang Li reincarnated. Zhang Li was reincarnated as a cow, in a state of confusion, forgetting everything, only acting on instinct, and was eventually slaughtered by people. The nobility and royalty are of the heavenly Tao, the common people belong to the human Tao, and the cattle and sheep belong to the animal Tao. These three make up the small cycle of reincarnation. Zhang Li walked out of the palm of the old Buddha, fully awake. The old Buddha attempted to muddle Zhang Li's mind with the cycle of reincarnation, but he failed. He also wanted Zhang Li to personally kill within the cycle of reincarnation, acknowledging that it is right to murder for longevity. In this way, even if Zhang Li left the cycle of reincarnation, he would not attack him again. However, he still failed, and even got a lesson from Zhang Li. I practiced Buddha land in the palm for 9,000 years, never used it, and was confident that even if the transcendence tribulation stage entered the Buddha land, they would lose themselves. Now that I have become a fairy, my power is greater than ever. But unexpectedly, it is still useless to you. You found yourself after only one cycle. The old Buddha did not admit his second purpose. Seeing that he could not break Zhang Li's Tao heart, the old Buddha again enlarged his hands, closing them around Zhang Li. The two hands were like two worlds, with infinite internal space. Zhang Li was back in Lashan country again, but this time he did not have to go through reincarnation, but was facing the endless space of Lashan country. The second move of Buddha land in the palm, infinity. This time Zhang Li did not lose his cultivation. He realized he could not fly to the end. He shouted, and with his hand as an axe, he cracked open the space with brute force. Chapter 89-89, The Incomplete Relic. Chapter 89, The Incomplete Relic. The old Buddha held Zhang Li in high esteem, not wanting to confront him directly in battle. He felt that since Zhang Li was no expert in the way of space, he could trap him using infinite space. Who would have thought, the boundless space that could cage an immortal was shattered by Zhang Li in an incredibly brute manner, at a speed even faster than when he had to break the first formation. Zhang Li understood that if a Mahayana realm cultivator and an immortal went all out in a fight, not just Mount Sumeru but even the whole 9 provinces would collapse. Hence, after he shattered the space within Buddha land in his palm, he also cracked open the space of 9 provinces, drew the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru into the void, and forced them to battle in the emptiness. With a resplendent golden body, the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru appeared compassionate. One couldn't be sure whether it was due to the elegance of the Buddhist law or the merit embodiment. Presently, not only Zhang Li couldn't differentiate, even the old Buddha himself couldn't. The 6th golden body of Buddhism had been cultivated to the extreme by the old Buddha, indestructible in its form. Normally speaking, even an immortal on the same level would need to put in some effort to break his golden body. However, Zhang Li, with his profound understanding of Tao, used the magic power of turning stone into gold in reverse. With one finger, he turned the old Buddha into a stone statue of 6 feet tall and immediately smashed it into fine powder. A being in the transcendence tribulation stage could still regenerate from a drop of blood, let alone the old Buddha who was already an immortal. Each speck of powdered rubble transformed into another him, seemingly forming a golden panorama that illuminated the void. Billions of the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru attacked Zhang Li simultaneously. Zhang Li knew it was impossible that there could be billions of original bodies of the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru. Even the Tao sect's establishment of the 3 Pure Land could only duplicate 2 selves for simultaneous fight, hence a maximum of 3 real bodies for the old Buddha. He breathed in the clouds and spat out mist, turning the rain into soldiers, battling the countless old Buddha of Mount Sumeru. A revised version of sowing beans into soldiers, turning rain into soldiers. Search the No Circumflex EL Fire. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The Tao sect was very pleased with Zhang Li studying Tao arts. Every art he studied, he could present back to the Tao sect. After clashing with the old Buddha once, he could instantly discern which were the real ones. The 3 real bodies of the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru were quickly discovered. Sighing, the old Buddha said, Zhongli, do you know, your talent scares me. As he fought against Zhongli using his divine skills, the old Buddha said, I've lived for 9,700 years. I met the immortals in the first 700 years. None of the immortals were as strong as you. And in the subsequent 9,000 years, I've seen countless outstanding people. However, nobody could exceed you. I couldn't either. Do you know, every time you lecture about the Mahayana realm and how to achieve it, I'm here to listen, either openly or covertly. The old Buddha got to this point and his momentum surged again, his expression turning ferocious as he roared. But I can't comprehend. I don't understand what you're talking about at all. If I could reach the Mahayana realm, why would I need to kill people? Why? Zhongli roared back, what else can I do? I've explained everything clearly. What more do you want me to explain? The old Buddha breathed out a breath of samadhi true fire, which landed on Zhongli and disappeared. Zhongli felt his Tao heart being seared by raging flames, akin to iron being hammered 1,000 times, it was scorching and painful. The samadhi true fire originated from the heart, using Tao heart as fuel, burning body and soul into ashes. Even those with firm Tao hearts could end up completely burnt, yet their samadhi true fire would still be burning their Tao hearts. Zhongli executed the heart sword, cutting himself with one strike, the sword intent shattered the samadhi true fire. The old Buddha once again attempted to trap Zhongli within Buddha land using his palm. However, this time, Zhongli did not budge, he detached himself from the reincarnation and fought against him once again. Both of them were well versed in divine skills. However, Zhongli was still one step ahead and defeated the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru. He pointed a finger at the center of the old Buddha's forehead. If the old Buddha made any move, he would puncture the latter's spiritual platform. The old Buddha kept coughing up blood. The blood he coughed out was golden, unstable in the void, exploding on escape. He laughed wretchedly, saying, you deliberately entered the reincarnation cycles at the beginning, didn't you? You actually just wanted to say that to me. Zhongli remained silent. The old Buddha coughed twice more, barely stabilizing his breath, and continued to speak. You've been holding back the whole time I noticed. The heaven demons from beyond our realm have similar strength to me. Yet you kill them with ease, but with me, you were careful to not hurt me. Then why didn't you leave 9 provinces after you've become an immortal, for other worlds? After the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru became immortal, the chaotic astral winds in the void should have posed no problem to him. Moreover, he was an expert in the way of space, it should have been elementary for him to go to other places. However, he chose to stay in 9 provinces, on Mount Sumeru, as if he was waiting for Zhongli to arrive. Yeah, why indeed also don't I'm going to another world, you wouldn't be able to find me, maybe because I feel I'm innocent, that you would understand, that you would forgive me. After all, I've saved 9 provinces. Zhongli was silent for a while before he asked, who is the respected God hidden? Where is the heavenly demon? The old Buddha shook his head, everything you saw in the God hidden cult is all there is to know. The demon just told me following the respected God hidden and killing people will give one merit-based powers. All about the God hidden was made up by me based on their name. I've no idea what it is, perhaps it's a faith from the heavenly demons outside of our realm. About the heavenly demon from outside our realm, the old Buddha gestured to his throat. I was cursed by the 6 harmonies sitting spell. I can't speak about it even though I'm already an immortal now. There was one way to break the 6 harmonies sitting spell. That was for the person cursed to ascend to the same realm the spellcaster was, the spell would then break by itself. Do you understand? The person is 1 realm higher than I. Yet only dare to do sneaky things. Zhongli, they are scared of you. The old Buddha of Mount Sumeru was an earth immortal, but the heavenly demons that infiltrated 9 provinces were heavenly immortals. A heavenly immortal was fearing a Mahayana realm face cultivator. The old Buddha of Mount Sumeru laughed scornfully at himself. When he remembered how apprehensive the heavenly demon looked, like a petty thief tiptoeing around, his laughter died down immediately. The way he established the God-hidden cult secretly without Zhongli's knowledge, and stealthily collecting powers of merit, didn't it seem eerily similar to the heavenly demon? The heavenly demon must have calculated that he wouldn't tell Zhongli about the power of merit, which was why they revealed it to him. In the eyes of the heavenly demon, was he so afraid of death? I know you're investigating who told Zhang Yixing the demonic path lieutenant was the heavenly demon that infiltrated 9 provinces. Have you thought about what is a heavenly demon? Zhongli the elder of longevity is lying. He definitely hid something about the heavenly demons. Maybe you believe him, but I don't. Zhongli, what you said is right. Heaven is changing. Heaven wants to exterminate us. Only you can protect the 9 provinces. The old Buddha of Mount Sumeru forcefully put himself in the posture of a Buddhist cross-legged sit, put his hands together, immolated his body, and turned into a damaged reliquary. Where did it go wrong that Zhongli found out about the God hidden Cult right, it started when they sent an assassin to kill him at the Tian Sha Pavilion. Why did they do that? Lieutenant seemed like after he passed the trials of becoming an immortal 15 times his actions changed. Is this change good, is it? Zhang Li held the damaged reliquary, feeling a storm of emotions, but did not know what to say. He silently returned to 9 provinces. Chapter 90-90, Can we still have a cross-level fight in the Mahayana realm? Chapter 90, Can we still have a cross-level fight in the Mahayana realm? The extraterritorial heavenly demon originated from unknown sources, harboring a strong desire for destruction. The immortal realm has been in a standoff with these demons for several eras, yet the latter often remains in a disadvantaged position. Only their stronghold remains impregnable, otherwise the immortal realm would have wiped them out completely long ago. 9,000 years ago, the heavenly ascension ladder mysteriously disappeared. The Eternal Elder speculated that it should be the work of the extraterritorial heavenly demons. Unable to defeat the immortal realm, they opted to start from the lower realm, gradually eroding the immortal realm. The void is like an ocean, and the world is like a fish in the sea, constantly moving. However, the immortal realm is such a gigantic fish, it's more like a colossal whale compared to ordinary fish, while Kyushu is like a dolphin. The heavenly ascension ladder is the only connection between the immortal realm and other worlds. The extraterritorial heavenly demon made the ascension ladder disappear, causing neither side to find other worlds. However, the demons may have other ways to determine the general location of Kyushu. Every few hundred years, a demon will find its way to Kyushu. When an Earth immortal level heavenly demon invades, it immediately starts on a killing spree upon reaching Kyushu. Naturally, Kyushu is hard-pressed to resist and can only rely on the human emperor, along with other aids from the Transcendence Tribulation stage and body integration realm, plus various means like immortal artifacts, and the country's luck bestowed upon its ruler. Kyushu's resources have been continuously depleted, with falling one after another during the Tribulation period. 9,000 years ago, 20 Tribulation stage masters guarded Kyushu. But now, only Bai Hongtu, Yu Yin, the sect master of the body incorporating sect, and Zhu, the leader of the imperial palace, are the 4 of the tribulation stage that remain. Zhang Li returned to Mount Sumeru. The standoff between him and the old Buddha had long drawn the attention of all monks. 2 people went into the void, but only one returned, Zhang Li, holding a relic in his hand. The result of the old Buddha is evident to guess. No monk stepped up to reproach Zhang Li for killing the old Buddha because their clear understanding of the conversation between the two indicated that the old Buddha had killed to save himself and Zhang Li had come to punish him. No one could blame Zhang Li for doing anything wrong. The cycle of cause and effect was, after all, a philosophy of Buddhism. Killing is a mantra of fate. Zhang Li handed the broken relic to Wu Ji. It seemed that he had already anticipated everything. Instead of chanting the rebirth mantra, he accepted the relic and respectfully bowed to Zhang Li in the Buddhist practice. Human Emperor, my master once said that if you come looking for him and he wasn't around, you should pick up something under the lotus platform. Zhang Li searched under the old Buddha's lotus platform and found a list. A list of all the followers of the God-hidden cult. The first line of the list read, Sect Hierarch, Qin Shi, man of the Peacock Kingdom. Qin Shi, the secular name of old Buddha Sumeru. He once told Zhang Li with a smile that his secular name was connected to the West, signifying his destiny being tied with the Western paradise. The Peacock Kingdom was a country that perished thousands of years ago. Then it listed the vice sect hierarch, worshippers, and so on, most of whom were marked in red, indicating those people's deaths. The old Buddha Sumeru could have remembered all the disciples. There was no need to keep a list. Zhang Li didn't know why the old Buddha Sumeru kept this list, nor did he want to know. The old Buddha Sumeru became the master of Mount Sumeru, not because of his deep cultivation, but because of his profound understanding of Buddhism. Buddhism does not conflate cultivation level with a monk's actual status, it's their understanding of the Buddhist law that matters. Zhang Li surmised that, in the end, the master of Mount Sumeru would be Wu Ji's disciple. Where is the elder? I need advice. What happened to the Buddhists? I sense the aura of a Taoist. It seemed like that of old Buddha, but I can't sense it now. When Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu met, they asked each other at the same time. The old Buddha broke his vow of non-killing. Zhang Li only said one sentence. Bai Hongtu has known Zhang Li for nearly 500 years. Seeing Zhang Li somewhat dismayed, he instantly knew what had happened. The killing karma committed by the old Buddha must have claimed many lives. Otherwise, Zhang Li would not have killed old Buddha Sumeru, whom he respected. He told Zhang Li where the Eternal Elder was located and patted Zhang Li on the shoulder. Don't be too hard on yourself. Take it easy. Take it easy. Zhongli smiled bitterly. Would you relax if you knew that there had been an extraterritorial heavenly demon of celestial level lurking in Kyushu for at least 380 years? Bai Hongtu was startled. A celestial level extraterritorial heavenly demon? What on earth has happened? The Eternal Patriarch even said that the extraterritorial heavenly demons who could come to Kyushu were only at the Earth Immortal level. Moreover, as soon as the extraterritorial heavenly demons arrived in Kyushu, they started killing like crazy, disregarding any rationality. It has never been heard of a lurking demon before. Additionally, if they came to Kyushu 380 years ago, why didn't they massacre people then? At that time, Zhongli was not even a Transcendence Tribulation stage practitioner. Who could have stopped the celestial level heavenly demon's rampage? Even now, could Zhongli, who had just become a human emperor, withstand SEARH the novel_fire, Ada at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The heavenly demon of celestial level. Could it be that there was something in Kyushu that the heavenly demons feared? Is it true or false? Is the information accurate? Bai Hongtu asked, not because he didn't trust Zhongli, but because the news was extremely unbelievable and contradictory. The old Buddha told me on his dying breath. Let's go together to see the patriarch. With such a significant occurrence, Bai Hongtu wanted to go with Zhongli to ask the Eternal Elder. The Eternal Elder was then at the top level of the Taoist scripture library, perusing some ancient texts that were older than himself. Upon meeting, Zhongli asked directly, Elder, are you certain that the extraterritorial heavenly demons are only of Earth Immortal level? Why do you ask? The Elder looked up in confusion. The extraterritorial heavenly demons indeed only reach the Earth Immortal level. I have never seen a celestial level demon in the immortal realm. The strength of these demons lies only in their numbers, and their stronghold is hard to destroy. They do not have brains, only power. I happen to have encountered a celestial level demon, and he was extremely wise. How do you explain that? Zhongli said seriously, his words hinting at accusation. He felt that the elder must know some inside information, such as the reason why the extraterritorial heavenly demons kill people, and about respected God hidden. Seeing Zhongli's serious attitude and Bai Hongtu's demand for an explanation, the elder knew he couldn't hide it anymore and had to tell the truth. I deceived you. There actually are celestial level demons. The elder sighed and explained, the reason I always claimed that the demons only attain the Earth Immortal level is that I worried that if you knew there could be celestial level demons invading, your predecessors would think defeating the Earth Immortal level demons doesn't mean much when there are still stronger celestial demons. That way, they would live their whole lives in fear. Even though you have reached the Mahayana level, I didn't want to break this news to you. At the prime of your life, why should I depress you with the news that there's an even stronger enemy out there that you cannot win against? Earth Immortal level demons indeed lack intelligence, but once they reach the celestial level, their intelligence improves significantly and they become harder to deal with. I don't think you can win against such a demon. Zhongli mused before speaking honestly, the celestial level demon seemed to be very afraid of me. He didn't dare to engage in a head-on battle. Cough. The elder almost choked on his own saliva. This guy, theoretically being at the same level as an Earth Immortal, was unbelievably strong. It was common knowledge that he could fight someone several levels above him, but the elder didn't think Zhongli could reach such an unprecedented level. Chapter 91-91, The Indifferent Immortal Realm. Chapter 91, The Indifferent Immortal Realm. Bai Hongtu couldn't believe what he was seeing as he looked at Zhongli. This is no ordinary man, he thought. This is like the eldest son of heaven itself. He had initially been worried about what they would do if they encountered a heavenly demon at the heavenly immortal level, but it turned out Zhongli, despite his grim expression, had been prepared to fight to the death. Such a waste of feelings. What a letdown. If a heavenly demon of heavenly immortal level arrived in JoJo 380 years ago and has been active in secret, what would you think? You were just at the body integration realm then, and yet you were already a threat to the heavenly demons at the heavenly immortal level, exclaimed the longtime immortal elder in surprise. All right, stop looking at me like that. I also don't know why. After all, I'm just a little Earth Immortal, not all-knowing and omnipotent. Quote. Seeing that the longtime immortal elder really didn't know the reason, Zhongli, recalling the tragic death of the Tao ancestor, further asked, did anything really not happen in the immortal realm? Otherwise, how could the heavenly demon find JoJo while the immortal realm couldn't? Also, the Tao ancestor mentioned in his stele that the immortal realm was in great chaos. You'd better not count on the immortal realm to help JoJo. The longtime immortal elder's face darkened. Why do you think I came back to JoJo instead of staying at immortal realm where everything is full of immortal power? The immortals are really indifferent beings. After living for a long time, they even throw away their humanity. They only care about the immortal realm and don't care about what happens to other worlds. I detest such an immortal realm. As for what my master meant when he said that the immortal realm was in chaos, I don't think it's because of an invasion by extraterritorial heavenly demons. You see, he didn't mention extraterritorial heavenly demons in his stele. I guess it was probably the bigwigs in the immortal realm who started fighting each other. Our master took the wrong side and was expelled from the immortal realm, and then he ran into the extraterritorial heavenly demons. The longtime immortal elder said this indignantly. If his master, like him, had just returned to JoJo for his retirement, he wouldn't have had to face all this turmoil. So there are internal conflicts in the immortal realm. Of course, the number of internal conflicts within the immortal realm exceeds your imagination. You have seen one of the reasons, the Red Dust Fairy Maiden. As the longtime immortal elder mentioned this title, a surge of emotion arose within him, but he was forcibly suppressed by Zhang Li. In addition to that, there are also disputes over Dao lineage, power struggles, and so on. Since extraterritorial heavenly demons pose no threat to them, they are not afraid of squandering. So it's JoJo that's relatively united now, the longtime immortal elder said with regret when he thought of the past. Before the ladder to immortality disappeared, JoJo, with the immortal realm as a backer, did not have many fewer internal conflicts than the immortal realm. Now, with the heavenly demons in view of the Imperial Palace, everyone is finally refraining from infighting. EAH the Ada Ovelfire. Ada at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Then the longtime immortal elder said, I originally didn't want to tell you all this, but what's the use of knowing this information? It would be better if you didn't know it. Then you could still hope that the immortal realm would come to save JoJo. What exactly is an extraterritorial heavenly demon, and how can a heavenly demon without reason manage to cultivate until the transcendence tribulation stage? Zhang Li asked again. The cultivation system of the heavenly demons is different from ours. They do not rely on spiritual energy and immortal power for energy, but feed on negative emotions such as anger, fear, grief, and anxiety. Death is the greatest source of negative emotions, so they kill, and some people in the immortal realm speculate that heavenly demons originated from the negative emotions of sentient beings, but it's still only a guess. Do you think it's possible to gain merit just by killing? Killing evil people? Killing any person? That sounds a lot like what extraterritorial heavenly demons do. How so? The longtime immortal elder shook his head. I've only heard about it, I haven't seen it firsthand. Someone from the battlefield told me in secret that the extraterritorial heavenly demons have their own god. This god is responsible for granting merits. Anyone who believes in this god and kills people can gain merit. Quote. Bai Hongtu opened his eyes wide, unable to imagine a god like this actually exists. Do you know what this god is called? Zhang Li looked straight into the longtime immortal elder's eyes. The longtime immortal elder shook his head. The immortal realm has very strict control over this aspect, I do not know. Zhang Li nodded in understanding. Whether it's JoJo or the immortal realm, the fact that one can gain merit by killing people is very attractive to cultivators. It's pure and unadulterated demon Dao. He didn't tell the longtime immortal elder about the God-hidden cult and the respected God-hidden. Considering the longtime immortal elder, who only has immortal power, he might do something like the old Buddha of Mount Sumeru did, killing people to gain merit. As for how much merit is needed to sustain an earth immortal, Zhang Li did not dare to calculate. As long as Zhang Li was alive, the longtime immortal elder didn't need to deal with the extraterritorial heavenly demons directly, so his immortal power wouldn't be depleted. The Yilang Kingdom is a remote small country, surrounded by mountains on three sides and a river on the other. Its poor resources make it less engaged with the outside world, and therefore it draws little attention. What stands out the most about this small country is its monarch. The monarch, with extraordinary talent, managed to advance from the Qi cultivation stage to the divinity transformation stage within just a few decades, despite the lack of natural resources to aid his cultivation. Everyone in Yilang Kingdom knows that their monarch did not inherit the title, but seized it. The monarch of Yilang, Zhang Han, was originally an executioner. He was tough and terrifying, but people who knew him well were aware of his kind nature. Despite his looks, Zhang Han was actually very kind-hearted, often helping others, and was well liked by his neighbors. Gradually, people noticed that Zhang Han's cultivation level was slowly increasing. He even managed to break through to the foundation establishment stage, which was thought to be hopeless for him. When asked about it, he would just laugh it off as pure luck. People took his word for it. But then, they noticed he seemed to have opened some sort of gate. In just a few years, he reached the late foundation establishment stage. When his superiors found out about this, they thought it would be wasteful not to promote such a talented man. They tried to arrange a marriage for him with the superior's daughter, but Zhang Han refused, saying he was content with being an executioner. Seeing his steadfastness, his superiors gave up on the idea of marrying off their daughter to him. The neighbors noticed a change in Zhang Han's character. After each execution, he would fall into depression for days. But since breaking through the foundation establishment stage, he became cheerful, as if beheading wasn't a horrific act. He even expressed his enjoyment of it. Such behavior made the neighbors feel scared of Zhang Han. One day, a vigilante appeared in the city, killing the wicked and distributing their wealth at night. Coincidentally, Zhang Han broke through to the Golden Core stage, with an upper-grade Golden Core at that. The tales of the vigilante went on for quite a while. The number of wicked people in the city started to decrease, and Zhang Han advanced to the late Golden Core stage. After reaching the late Golden Core stage, Zhang Han's cultivation began to slow down due to a lack of people for him to kill. Zhang Han became anxious. It so happened that his superior had promised his daughter to a talented young man. Zhang Han, who also had feelings for his superior's daughter, disagreed with this marriage and asked his superior to betroth his daughter to him instead. Although the superior's daughter also liked Zhang Han, the superior thought that Zhang Han was too eccentric and only content with being an executioner. He was worried Zhang Han might become addicted to killing and it would be dangerous for his daughter to marry him. Therefore, he rejected Zhang Han's proposal. Zhang Han was furious. On the youth's wedding day, he killed the talented young man's family and kidnapped the superior's daughter. Chapter 92-92, Indiscriminate Killing of Innocents. Chapter 92. Indiscriminate Killing of Innocents. Even if the daughter of his superior was fond of Zhang Han, she disapproved of indiscriminate killing. She pleaded with him to let her go, but Zhang Han ignored her pleas and forcibly took her away. In broad daylight and under the public gaze, he slew the family of the bride-to-be's fiancé, abducted his bride, and did not even attempt to hide his actions. This was a blatant provocation to Yilang Kingdom. Zhang Han's superior almost died on the spot out of sheer outrage. Yilang Kingdom had to capture Zhang Han and execute him publicly, or they would lose face. But Zhang Han killed every single emissary. With every battle, his cultivation strength grew mightily. He eventually reached the divinity transformation stage and executed the reigning monarch, making himself the new ruler of Yilang Kingdom. As monarch, Zhang Han made his superior's daughter the queen, and scoured the nation for its most beautiful women to add to his harem. From then on, Zhang Han was extremely brutal and unpredictable. Chambermaids who accidentally spilled soup, eunuchs who had made eye contact with concubines, officials who dared to voice their dissatisfaction with his rule. As soon as Zhang Han perceived them as threats to his authority, he ordered their immediate beheadings. He also instituted severe laws, designating theft of any amount over 1 tael of silver as a capital offense. Despite warnings from ministers who had studied at Great Zhou that such laws could not sustain long-term rule, Zhang Han ignored them. When they opposed him, he had them put to death. Suddenly, everyone in Yilang Kingdom lived in fear. They dared not drink alcohol, fearing they might cause a ruckus while drunk, damage property, and be charged with sedition, a crime punishable by death. The owners of taverns didn't know whether to be happy or not. Indeed, no one was causing trouble after drinking, but the number of people who frequented the taverns had decreased significantly. Some ministers became so terrified that they planned to retire and return to their homes. Zhang Han claimed that prime-aged ministers with nascent souls attempting to retire were guilty of deceiving the ruler and ordered their execution. Another minister who had sustained internal injuries in his youth requested to retire and led a solitary life at home. Zhang Han deemed his desire as a sign of disloyalty and executed him as well. With these two precedents, no other ministers dared to express the desire to retire and go home. Every time they left their homes for court, they would make their wills, fearing that they might never return. One minister saw Zhang Han's rapid advancement in cultivation and suspected him of practicing dark arts. He reported to Great Wei Empire. However, no matter how hard Great Wei tried, they could not find any trace of Zhang Han practicing dark arts. In the end, they could only conclude that Zhang Han was highly gifted and had a penchant for killing. If one practiced the dark arts, the resentment of the deceased would linger on their body, which Zhang Han did not have. Moreover, to practice dark arts, one must kill personally. It doesn't count if one orders guards to kill or introduces strict laws to increase capital punishment. None of these methods could enhance one's cultivation in dark arts. Zhang Han was furious when he learned that someone had reported him to the Great Wei Empire for practicing dark arts. He accused the minister of treason and sentenced his entire family to death. Search the novel Fire. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. From then on, no one dared to question Zhang Han. Zhang Han was sitting in his warm room, reviewing reports, trying to find reasons to execute someone from between the lines of the minister's documents. Unfortunately, the ministers had become more careful. The reports either brought him minor joys like abundant harvests or minor worries like lower crime rates. Amongst other inconsequential matters, one was that the executioner had become a very popular job. Perhaps he should make an incognito trip to see if there was anyone in the civilian world who deserved to die. Click. Quote. A slight noise from beside him, a maid trembling slightly as she touched the lid of the teacup, created a small noise. With a swish, the maid's face turned deathly pale. She knelt on the floor, kowtowing, pleading for mercy. Zhang Han, impatient, waved his hand. You disrupted my concentration while I was reviewing the reports. Take her out and behead her. He thought he was fair. Since the previous maids were executed for similar minor offenses, not killing this one would be unfair, wouldn't it? Guards. Seeing that the guards didn't immediately carry out his order, he became irate, assuming that the guards outside must have been slackening off. Such dereliction of duty must be punished by death. The door of the warm room opened, and a young man said to the two guards at the door, "You two wait outside. Don't come in, can you do that?" The two guards dared not dissent and nodded profusely. After the young man came in, he said to the maid, "You wait outside first. I have something to deal with the monarch." The maid, feeling as if she had been granted amnesty, fled the warm room. Zhang Han saw someone overruling his commands, but he dared not utter a word. Cold sweat dripped from him, his hands trembling. Zhang Han tried to maintain his composure. "May I ask for what matter the human emperor is here for? Is there any way I can assist you?" "Didn't I say it already? I am here to handle matters." Zhang Li laughed. "I need your help specifically, or more accurately, to handle you." "Me? The human emperor is joking. I have not violated any rules of the imperial palace. Why would the human emperor want to deal with me? After all, you are the human emperor, you can't indiscriminately kill innocent people." Zhang Li was amused by Zhang Han's words. "I, as the human emperor, cannot indiscriminately kill innocent people, but you, as the ruler of a small state, can kill indiscriminately. Is there such a principle in the world? Aren't you taking advantage of honest people?" Zhang Li continued, "I have been killing for a few months, and now there is only one God-hidden cult follower left, you. Congratulations, you've been lucky, the last one alive." Zhang Li didn't dare entrust the matter of handling the God-hidden cult followers to anyone, even the leaders of the imperial palace. The fewer people who knew about the God-hidden cult, the better. Even Yu Yin, whom Zhang Li had blackmailed, didn't know that Sun Yuan was a dark arts practitioner. In the past few months, Zhang Li had carried out the slaughter according to the sequence in the name list and ensured that they didn't leave behind any clues related to the God-hidden cult. Now, it was time to wrap things up, and Zhang Han was the last one. Though Zhang Han was at a high level, his position in the organization was rather low. He didn't have the credentials to preach, and was under the most strict Six Harmonies sitting spell. He couldn't divulge any information about the God-hidden cult. Hearing, God-hidden cult, from human Emperor Zhang Han felt a chill down his spine, his last shred of hope was extinguished. Even now, he believed that what he gained was the power of God hidden, not the power of virtue. But he realized this practice was eerily similar to the dark arts, it was just exploiting the loophole in JoJo's definition of dark arts. Originally, you knew that there was a problem with the God-hidden power, and you happened to be an executioner, so you could gain the God-hidden power. If you stopped there, I wouldn't be chasing you. Zhang Li was reading Zhang Han's materials with his legs crossed and spoke leisurely. Later, you killed villains to gain God-hidden power, and I wouldn't kill you for that. Zhang Han tried to argue, but Zhang Li ignored him and continued, but then you changed. You were intoxicated with the feeling of gaining God-hidden power, you wanted to become stronger, but there were no more villains for you to kill. The fact that your beloved woman got married was the turning point which made you start killing indiscriminately. Eventually, you became the monarch, wielded supreme power, and used your power to kill, thus discarding any suspicion of practicing the dark arts. Seeing this, Zhang Han hurriedly interjected, yes, I'm not practicing dark arts, this is my own power. I know your God-hidden power is not dark arts. Then, Zhang Han rejoiced. Consider me as one who kills indiscriminately. Zhang Li didn't give Zhang Han a chance to argue. He casually flicked his index finger, and Zhang Han, who was at the divinity transformation stage, died without stating a reason. Zhang Li did not tell Zhang Han that this was actually the power of virtue, and that the followers of the God-hidden cult had caused incalculable harm to JoJo and must be dealt with completely. Why bother explaining to him? Chapter 93-93, Are you teaching me alchemy? Chapter 93, Are you teaching me alchemy? Not all members of the God-hidden cult were indiscriminate killers. There were disciples like Zhang Han in the beginning, whose duty was killing, but only killed evildoers. For such disciples, Zhang Li had a way to secure their lives while ensuring they could never leak information about the God-hidden cult. Unfortunately, such disciples were in the minority. Many more were like the current Zhang Han. For the power of the God-hidden cult, they would kill under any pretext, or even without one, launching into killing sprees. For the latter, Zhang Li had no mercy, he exterminated them without leaving a single one. Now that the cleaning up of the God-hidden cult was done, Zhang Li's new task was to uncover the heavenly demon hidden in Jojo. A rough plan had formed in Zhang Li's mind. First, he needed a medicinal pill. When it came to pill refining, the best place in Jojo was the Dao Sect's alchemy peak. The 9-turn golden core that Zhang Li had, which could initiate day-flight ascension upon consumption, was made by the chief of Dan Kenning Peak. Before he even reached Alchemy Peak, from a faraway distance, Zhang Li could hear Su Wei, the peak's chief, arguing with someone. "I've been refining pills my entire life, and you're telling me my technique is wrong. Can you refine better than me?" Zhang Li could hear Su Wei, who usually had a gentle demeanor, stomping about with frustration. No wonder, he was having this kind of reaction. Su Wei was genuinely good-natured, but that was because he had no interest in anything besides alchemy. Now, being accused of poor refining techniques, how could he not be infuriated? "With your poor technique, I could refine better than you even with my eyes closed. Then let's have a contest. Let's refine the fundamental Yuan Pei pill. With 100 sets of ingredients, let's see who can refine the highest quality. If you can surpass me, you can be the peak chief. If I win, you have to assist me in refining pills dutifully." The other voice sneered, "Whoever wanted to be the peak's chief? Change the condition. If I win, you have to work for me as a fire fanner." A deal. Zhang Li was quite curious. Su Wei's alchemy skills were nothing short of phenomenal. He was a leading figure in Jojo's refining world. Any cultivator learning alchemy would revere Su Wei's 3 masterpieces: pill, furnace, fire. He had never seen anyone question Su Wei's alchemy skills. Walking into Su Wei's refining room, where the door of the pill furnace was wide open and fiercely burning, Su Wei was facing the furnace, yelling hysterically at it as the flames seemed to mock him. Su Wei was arguing with his own pill furnace. SEARH the Ada Ovel Fire. Ada at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. He was so engrossed in the argument that he didn't notice Zhang Li's arrival. "What's going on?" Zhang Li asked Su Wei's disciple, who was red-lipped, pale-faced, wore a red bellyband and had 2 braids dangling from her head. She was very adorable. As soon as the disciple noticed the human emperor, she immediately paid her respects. She wanted to stop her master from embarrassing himself in front of others. However, it was well known that Zhang Li enjoyed drama, so he stopped the disciple and asked her to explain. "It all started when Grandmaster Tianyin enlightened all the spiritual treasure, including the red crow furnace belonging to my master," explained the disciple. "Master's pill furnace is a spiritual treasure that grows stronger. He received it during the foundation establishment stage. Since then, it has always been with him and has become a top-tier Dao device for 1,500 years. Ever since Red Crow Furnace gained spiritual intelligence, it didn't demand to become independent by shouting about the freedom of spiritual treasures. Instead, it chose to stay with the master and help him refine pills. Initially, master was very happy, regarding this as a symbol of their 1,500-year friendship. But who'd have thought that Red Crow Furnace liked to talk during master's pill refinement process, instructing master on how to refine pills. Quote. The disciple, impersonating Red Crow Furnace's voice, went on to explain, "Old Su, you'll ruin the pill if you refine it this way. How can you expect to create a pill cloud with such a rough technique? Here, let me show you how to refine pills. Are you a fool? I've told you many times that refining it your way won't work. Wouldn't it be better to listen to me? Little disciple, seeing as you clean me every day, I'll do you a favor. Don't follow your foolish master, I'll teach you how to refine pills." What are you glaring at? Yes, I plan to steal your disciple right under your nose. You can't even teach properly yourself, and now you don't want others to do it either. How selfish. Afraid of being heard by Su Wei, the disciple whispered in Zhang Li's ear. Master always said he wasn't good at fighting. But ever since Red Crow Furnace gained spiritual intelligence, I saw that master actually could slap a top-tier Dao device until it gets disoriented. Now, Red Crow Furnace has proposed a competition with master on alchemy to settle who will lead the refinement process in the future. And with that, Su Wei began his contest with his own pill furnace. Su Wei went first. He put the ingredients for the 100 yuan pei pills into the red crow furnace at the same time. He controlled the furnace flame according to his instincts, extracting the essence from the herbs, discarding the waste with an 8 trigram conversion technique. Hey, lower the fire. What's the matter? Inquired Su Wei, frowning. He felt that the furnace fire was just right. Increasing or lowering it wouldn't result in good pills. You're burning my stomach. With veins throbbing in his forehead, if it weren't for the pills that needed to be refined, Su Wei would definitely have increased the fire to burn this damn furnace. 100 yuan pei pills, each with a red pill cloud, were born from the fire. The red pill cloud looked like a red cloud at sunset, beautiful and elusive, like a work of art. These were indeed top-grade yuan pei pills. Hey, trying to break my focus. Dream on. Su Wei spoke nonchalantly, as if the angry person just now wasn't him. Your turn. He didn't believe that Red Crow Furnace could do better than him. Refusing to admit defeat, the Red Crow Furnace swallowed 100 sets of yuan pei pill ingredients, its flames roaring, making a chomping sound as if it were chewing food. Puke. The Red Crow Furnace spit out the yuan pei pill, making the 3 individuals feel uncomfortable. Could it be that all pills are actually the vomit of a pill furnace? Who would dare to consume them after this? Look, it's refined. A yuan pei pill, the size of a head, rolled to Su Wei's feet. What is this? Su Wei looked at the object. It did resemble a pill, and there was a red pill cloud above it. After a pause, the flame of the Red Crow Furnace jumped twice and it proudly stated, "This is an improved version of the yuan pei pill, you can call it, big. Yuan pei pill. A person can at most consume only 50 top-grade yuan pei pills, any more would be ineffective. With my big yuan pei pill, consuming 1 equals to 100, the effect will definitely be better than yours." Are you joking? Is this thing even edible? Su Wei pointed at the ball-sized big yuan pei pill, angered. You don't need to worry about that. You can give it to a beast or learn to exhibit the world through your dharma appearance first or something. In any case, the quality of the yuan pei pill I refined is better than yours. So, obediently become my fire fanner. Quote. I refuse to acknowledge this as a yuan pei pill. Hey, you old rascal. You too, now that the contest is over, how about doing me a favor? Seeing the man and furnace arguing without resolving the dispute, Zhang Li stepped in to stop them. Human Emperor Zhang. Brother Zhang. Quote. Upon noticing Zhang Li, the man and the furnace temporarily ended their dispute. In front of an outsider, they had to maintain the image of a respected senior alchemist and a respected alchemy furnace. I wish to refine pure blood pills, can you do it? Chapter 94-94, The Blood of Bai Zi. Chapter 94. The Blood of Bai Zi Se Arch the Novel Fire. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Su Wei confidently smiled and said, Your Majesty is jesting. There's no elixir I. Su Wei, can't concoct. He continued, the technique for refining pure blood pill is simple, but the tricky part lies in some unpopular herbs. For instance, the white lingzi root, which grows under perpetual snow in the extreme north. This root blends in with snow, completely indistinguishable even with divine sense. The only way to find it is by digging into the snow with bare hands. I spent a year digging in the snow and still found none. White lingzi root. A portion of snow-white herb was placed before Su Wei. Also, there is the flame grass, that only grows when nourished with the blood of a golden crow. Now, only the sun possesses golden crow blood, so only there could you find flame grass. But at the moment you uproot the flame grass, a spirit of the deceased golden crow would emerge. Only by defeating this spirit could you. Flame grass. A red herb was placed before Su Wei. We need Earth's essence. This rare earth has the instinct to attract benefits and evade harm, making it very hard to find. A chunk of pitch-black soil was placed before Su Wei. We need a complete shed skin from a dragon-transforming flood dragon, which is tough to find. An entire shed skin of a flood dragon was placed before Su Wei, and Zhang Li urged him to continue. Whatever else you need, just say it. The system store has everything. There's not much else, all pretty common. What kind of bloodline do you want to refine? Su Wei thought he would have to prepare for a while, but he didn't expect Zhang Li to have so many rare herbs on hand. A flicker of surprise was visible on the girl's face. She knew all the materials needed to make the pure blood pill. What her master referred to as common herbs were only traded through bartering or found in remote, uninhabited places, not something you could buy with spirit stones. Common, as in common in Alchemy Peak's herbal storehouse. White marsh blood. The pupils of Su Wei dilated instantly, as he understood Zhang Li's meaning. In this world, only one beast possessed the blood of the white marsh. The mixed blood white marsh emperor. The only use of a pure blood pill was to purify a beast's bloodline. Beasts were not like humans who relied on spiritual roots for cultivation. They depended on their bloodline, and the purer it is, the stronger they become. Of course, the assistance of bloodline could only stretch until the body integration realm. To break into the transcendence tribulation stage, one must rely purely on themselves. None of the existing beasts has reached the transcendence tribulation stage. That's problematic. Su Wei seemed to be in a dilemma. Pure blood pills require a medicine primer. Depending on which bloodline you want to extract, a drop of the corresponding blood is needed, and it mustn't be more than 12 hours since it was left the body. If it were Kunpeng, Chongqi, Lu Wu, True Dragon, or Kailan, it wouldn't be an issue. These pure-blooded beasts could all be found, and if Zhongli approached them for some real blood, they would happily slit their wrists open and offer him a pool of it. The only problem was the White Marsh. There was no pure-blooded one in the 9 provinces. Zhongli flipped through the system store but also found nothing. He wore a strange expression. A few days ago, the system issued a task. Task issued. In your pursuit of school credits, you carried out a school task. You came to the Great Wei Dynasty and ended up feuding with your peers in the process. Dealing with superior numbers, you unintentionally fell off a cliff, and accidentally stumbled upon a tomb. It belongs to a god transformation stage cultivator. Please obtain the inheritance of this cultivator. We do not recommend rejecting this task. Rewards: a drop of fresh white marsh blood, a cultivation technique to instantly increase explosive force, a large replenishing pill. It was a task, not recommended to reject, which Zhongli had never encountered before. He decided to go ahead with it. However, this task was a bit of a hassle. Obtaining inheritance wasn't a problem for Zhongli. The real issue was, who knows whose inheritance needed to be obtained. There were countless god transformation stage cultivators buried in the Great Way, and even Great Way itself didn't know it. Those cultivators died in secret and were buried. Who would know of that? Therefore, he instructed several leaders of the Imperial Palace to help him find the tomb of the god transformation stage cultivator under the cliff. He would then inspect these tombs one by one. At first, Zhongli was merely curious, but now he was more puzzled. This task was too coincidental, to the point that he suspected the system could foresee his needs and issue tasks in advance. But that's not quite right either. Previous tasks didn't provide many useful rewards. Did the system suddenly become smarter this time? As Zhongli was pondering, a call from the remote communication talisman interrupted him. Zhongli answered and said instinctively, "Old Bai, what brings you here?" "I'm just at your Dao sect." There was a moment of silence on the other end before the reply, "It's me, Pure Heart." "Oh, sorry, my mistake. I was lost in thought. What is it?" Seeing that there were others around Zhongli, Pure Heart made a sign. Getting the hint, Zhongli bid Su Wei farewell, announcing that he would find a way for the White Marsh blood issue, and then flew out of Alchemy Peak. "What's the matter? Master Hongchen has left home." "This is the letter left by her." Pure Heart showed the letter left behind by Master Hongchen to Zhongli. "I'm going out for a while and will be back in a few days. Don't worry, I have taken enough spirit stones with me, red dust." Pure Heart explained helplessly, "Our master always wants to go out and have fun. We're afraid she might stir up trouble if she goes out, so we've been stopping her. I guess our master grew resentful and didn't want to push her way out, so she snuck away." For an immortal to leave the sect they founded, even without their memories from when they were alive, it would be rather easy. This was no small matter. Zhongli had experienced the charm of Master Red Dust, which was beyond what any human could possess. It was something that could plunge the 9 provinces into chaos. "Hold on, I'll ask an expert about finding people." Zhongli disconnected from the remote communication talisman and asked the Yin-Yang Heaven Seal to use the karma of Red Dust to locate her. "Master Hongchen, I have some impression of her." Master Hongchen had come to the 9 provinces when the Yin-Yang Heaven Seal was yet to gain wisdom, but it still held a vague memory of her. It looked down on Master Hongchen's beauty, thinking that her charm could only affect humans. Could it make an immortal artifact fall in love too? Exaggerated. I don't believe that anyone can possess beauty that would make anyone enamored. While saying this, it leveraged the power of karma. This time, the karma of the Yin-Yang Heaven Seal worked, and it easily located Master Red Dust. She is in Feng City under the reign of the Great Wei Dynasty. The Yin-Yang Heaven Seal wanted to witness Master Red Dust in person, but Zhongli didn't dare to gamble on how strong Master Red Dust's charm actually was. If the Yin-Yang Heaven Seal fell in love and caused a mess, it would be a huge joke. He told the Yin-Yang Heaven Seal to obediently stay in Dao sect and not spread any word of this. Fearful of its past painful experience where it was almost smashed by Zhongli, the Yin-Yang Heaven Seal had to behave and stay in Dao sect, continuing to compile the spiritual treasures cultivation method. Curiosity was important, but life was even more so. Once he knew the rough location, Zhongli came to the airspace above Feng City. A sweep of his divine sense and he found Master Red Dust. She was shopping. Chapter 95-95 Do you know who I am? Chapter 95. Chapter 95 Do you know who I am? When Zhongli came to the Red Dust Fairy, he found her thoroughly wrapped in clothing. There was not a single patch of her body exposed, even her hands were covered with black silk gloves, and her beautiful eyes, reminiscent of serene water, were obscured by her hat's black veil. SEARH The novel_fire. Ada at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It was clear to Zhongli that all these garments were refined by the fairy using her immortal power, greatly reducing her noticeable presence and making her undetectable by divine senses. That being said, Zhongli's divine senses were extraordinarily powerful, and exempt from this effect. If anyone other than the Red Dust Fairy were to wear this attire, they would be completely overlooked. Even if they were shouting on the streets, no one would pay attention to them. Zhongli's first thought was that this outfit would be perfect for stealth killings. Yet, even wrapped in such clothing, the Red Dust Fairy still drew attention. Even if people didn't notice her beauty and shape, they would be captivated by the grace of her walk and the melodious sound of her voice. Even so, it was significantly less disruptive than if she revealed her identity outright. With her current look, at most, she could be considered a striking beauty. Observing the preparations the Red Dust Fairy had made for her departure, Zhongli felt a bit relieved. If she appeared in the city without any disguise, he would have a difficult time managing the situation. This puppet isn't worth this much. The Red Dust Fairy was fervently bargaining with a vendor over the price, trying to persuade him logically, but clearly the other party had no intention of being reasonable. On the stall were several adorable wooden dolls of exquisite craftsmanship, animated by gears within. By infusing a bit of spiritual energy, they could move for a long while. The Red Dust Fairy was eyeing a little monkey doll holding a peach above its head. However, she only had a small amount of spirit stones left. If she bought the doll, she wouldn't have any left. Indeed, the puppet was overpriced, but the vendor was shrewd. He instantly noticed the woman's infatuation with the doll and presumed she would buy it regardless of the high price. Moreover, the beautiful lady's voice was so melodious that he found himself indulging in the bargaining process. If all else failed, he reasoned, he could just make another one. The Red Dust Fairy thought the same. However, she recalled her junior's admonition not to waste her immortal power. She could justify using her power to refine her clothes for her journey, but she could hardly justify creating a doll with it. She could already imagine the nagging she would have to endure. She didn't just sneak out for fun. Her goal was to prove to everyone that she was independent and could go outside. One low-grade spirit stone, Zhongli threw the vendor the money. Seeing the intimidating smile on Zhongli's face, the vendor quickly handed over the monkey doll to Zhongli, fearing trouble if encountered later on a dark road. Seeing the puppet she wanted to buy for 10 low-grade spirit stones was bought by Zhongli at 1/10 of the price, the Red Dust Fairy considered Zhongli to be incredibly skilled. Fairy, had enough fun? Meeting Zhongli's gaze, the Red Dust Fairy mustered courage to respond, no, not yet. Do you have any spirit stones left? No, not any. Without any spirit stones, what plan do you have in mind? My singing is lovely, I can earn spirit stones by singing, answered the Red Dust Fairy, obviously after much thought, planning to make the most of her talent. Zhongli massaged his forehead. Thankfully, he had arrived early. If not, he would have witnessed a fairy reduced to singing on the streets. If word were to get out about this, the immortal elders might blame him, and then he would have to give them a beating. Could you not take me back? The Red Dust Fairy pleaded. Even through the black veil, Zhongli could sense the pitiful look in the Red Dust Fairy's eyes. Despite her infinite allure, the Red Dust Fairy was fundamentally a spirit born from a fairy corpse with no previous memories. Like a child, she spent most of her time in the last 3 years sleeping and had not undergone much psychological growth. The Pure Heart Sage might claim to be the Red Dust Fairy's descendant, but in Zhongli's eyes, the Red Dust Fairy might see the Pure Heart Sage as her elder instead. Otherwise, a group of juniors wouldn't be able to persuade their ancestor to reason. Since the Red Dust Fairy considered her rank to be low, she was well behaved. Zhongli sighed internally. He understood that keeping the Red Dust Fairy in the Red Dust Pure Land was not a long-term solution. Although he urged her to stay put for her safety, it was essentially a gentle form of imprisonment. He could not possibly expect the Red Dust Fairy to remain in the Pure Land forever. This problem must be solved sooner or later. So by taking advantage of this opportunity, Zhongli decided to let the red dust fairy go out and see the world, assessing whether any problems would arise from this. If he kept the red dust fairy locked in Pure Land, it was uncertain what drastic steps she might potentially take in anger. Even if she decided to fly around the 9 provinces out of rage, it could stir up serious trouble. Alright. Let's spend a few more days playing, Zhongli suggested, causing the red dust fairy to jump with delight. Undeniably, the fairy was much more at ease under the protection of the current human emperor, and Zhongli, being considerate, would tell her what she could do and what she shouldn't. For instance, she could go to the tea houses but not drink tea, enjoy storytelling but avoid pleasure houses, browse through shops and negotiate prices. When prices were non-negotiable, the red dust fairy would angrily ask Zhongli for spirit stones, buy the entire store, and become her own boss, taking whatever she fancied. Having strolled down a street, the red dust fairy had already become a mini tycoon, owning several shops. Afterwards, Zhongli sold off the shops. Feeling hungry, Zhongli asked, noticing that the red dust fairy kept glancing towards eateries and snack stalls. Zhongli understood the situation. While the red dust fairy had attained the state of fasting from food, eating meant more than just filling one's belly. He too often bought sugared hawthorns to enjoy. Previously, Zhongli didn't allow the red dust fairy to drink tea out of fear that her lower face might be exposed, leading to unnecessary troubles, but if she wanted to eat, it was not impossible. Zhongli booked a premium room at the inn for the fairy and ordered a wide array of fine dishes from the best restaurant. He also bought many snacks for her to enjoy in the room. He noticed some people arguing in the inn's lobby. What? There are no premium rooms available? Are you suggesting that my young master should stay in common rooms? Do you know who my young master is? Someone was boasting arrogantly while grabbing the innkeeper's collar. An indignant male patron shouted, "Is your young master's skin made of top-grade spirit stones, or is his meat made of them?" An elegant young woman chimed in, "Yeah, exactly, did your young master sprout from a top-grade spirit stone?" The man lost face and retorted, "If you're brave, reveal your backgrounds." A commander from the imperial palace, Zhang Konggu, a wandering member of the body incorporating sect, Li Nianer. The man sneered dismissively, "Do you know who I am?" Zhang Konggu and Li Nianer shook their heads simultaneously, no idea. They both wondered if there was any force stronger than the imperial palace or the body incorporating sect. With that, the man quickly made his exit. Thankfully, they didn't know who I was, he thought. Chapter 96-96, The Meditation Method of the Body Incorporating Sect. Chapter 96. Chapter 96, The Meditation Method of the Body Incorporating Sect. Are you the general of the imperial palace, Zhang? Are you the present envoy of the body incorporating sect? Zhang Konggu and Li Nianer were surprised by each other's identities, displaying mutual respect towards each other's powers. However, Li Nianer's surprise was greater. The imperial palace and the body incorporating sect had always had a good relationship, and Zhang Konggu was her senior. "Owner, give me a ground-level room." Zhang Konggu slapped a spirit stone onto the table, with a domineering air, but the spirit stone he gave was just enough for one night's stay, neither more nor less. "Listen to you, how dare I take your money?" The innkeeper smiled with a rubbing hand gesture, "Would you like to stay in the sky-level room? I can clear it for you right away." The innkeeper knew that a commander from the imperial palace was least likely to be a body integration realm cultivator, and he, being a small chi cultivation stage figure, could only admire from afar. This inn had once housed a god transformation stage cultivator. He did his best to serve the guest with the best room and manner, but just because he didn't actively refuse to take money, the guest became slightly displeased, punished him lightly, and left him bedridden for 3 months. This time he learned his lesson. He first refused to take money, to avoid angering the big shots again. How can you not take money? Running a business is not charity. Zhang Konggu frowned, forcing the spirit stone into the innkeeper's hands, and isn't the sky-level room already occupied? There is, will be very soon. After seeing Zhang Li, who was standing at the door eating candied ha, the innkeeper walked over to him, hoping that Zhang Li would switch to a ground-level room. Actually, if Zhang Konggu and Li Nianer had not intervened, scaring away the servant from some unknown family, the innkeeper would have asked Zhang Li to give up his room as well. Zhang Li changed his appearance. Zhang Konggu didn't recognize him, but he stopped the innkeeper from going to Zhang Li. "We should have the first-come first-served policy. Our imperial palace is regarded as what in your eyes? A domineering force that bullies others with power. If you continue like this, I will stay somewhere else." Zhang Li, while eating candied ha, walked in, It's not that our imperial palace is perceived badly in others' eyes, it's just that the innkeeper is scared of being bullied by high-level cultivators. Don't change your place, just stay here. Zhongli took out some spirit stones. Owner, 2 ground-level rooms, these 2 are on me. Hearing the manner of the conversation, Zhang Konggu realized that the one eating candied ha was brother Zhang. Konghu, niece Li, come on up. Li Nianer didn't know that this was Zhang Li, but she was still led by Zhang Konggu to the newly opened room. Are you Li Er's daughter? SEARH the Ada Ovelfire. Ada at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Yes, my father is the head of the body incorporating sect, Li Er. Li Nianer faced Zhang Li and felt an inexplicable pressure which was even greater than the pressure she felt in front of her father. Li Er, it's not a derogatory term or nickname, the head of body incorporating sect is named Li Er. When did Li Er start a family? Zhang Konggu also knew Li Er, but had never heard of him having a family. Maybe he felt embarrassed. Zhang Li also learned about Li Er's marriage just today, upon seeing Li Nianer. There are no outsiders here, you should know me. My name is Zhang Li. Zhang Li revealed his true face, causing Li Nianer's beautiful eyes to widen slightly. Zhang the human emperor. Li Nianer took off her protective jade pendant and dispelled the illusion technique on her body. The girl who looked alright in appearance transformed into an incredibly beautiful woman with a captivating demeanor, golden hair, green eyes, and a shapely, curvaceous, petite figure, but what drew most attention was a pair of small dragon horns on her head. Dragon Maiden, I was saying why Li Er didn't tell us. Zhang Konggu was about to speak when he was stared at by Zhang Li, stopping him from saying the next line. He actually married a real dragon. He instantly realized his mistake. Using such words to tease Li Er was acceptable, but it was not appropriate to say them in front of Li Er's daughter. The union of humans and monsters in the 9 provinces was not a novelty, but many people still felt uncomfortable, or rather, not used to it, like Zhang Konggu's reaction. It was not with scorn, but he would still use it to tease the people involved. If people considered it as common, they would not tease, instead they would simply nod, thinking this was nothing unusual. Was the jade pendant given to you by your mother? Yes. Li Nianer nodded. She rarely revealed her true face in front of strangers and was a bit uncomfortable. No wonder I didn't notice the illusion technique, Zhang Konggu thought, a jade pendant with illusion technique made for a daughter by a real dragon. Zhang Konggu, who was a body cultivator, failed to notice at first glance. Zhang Li happened to know that there was a real dragon who was very good at illusion techniques. She was the younger sister of the Western Sea Dragon King. Konghu, have you found a place that meets the conditions? I found quite a few. Zhang Konggu projected a holographic map. Several red dots marked on it were places where the tombs of God transformation stage cultivators were located at the bottom of cliffs. Zhang Li really wanted to say, why do you God transformation stage cultivators like to bury yourselves at the bottom of cliffs? Is the feng shui particularly good there? This was only found by one general. Other generals found places where the quantity was only more and not less than what Zhang Konggu found. Fortunately, the 9 provinces were vast with many cliffs. Otherwise, Zhang Li really worried about where the future God transformation stage cultivators would be buried. Zhang Li was already picturing how future God transformation stage cultivators would find their grave sites. Brother Dao, your grave location is not bad, the bottom of the cliff, quiet and secluded. May I build one next to you? You won't mind, right? If you don't say anything, I'll take it as agreement. Hey, I was just going to this location. Li Nianer pointed at a red dot. It was just over 200 miles away from their present location. Zhang Konggu just returned from there. There is only one tomb of a God transformation stage cultivator. Why are you going there? For average cultivators, the tomb of a God transformation stage cultivator represents endless danger and opportunity, but for the body incorporating sect's envoy like Li Nianer, such a tomb was as tasteful as chicken ribs. Hee, you are unaware of this, Senior Zhang. That God transformation cultivator was from the beast controlling sect. He carried an immortal beast catalog. By perusing the catalog, we can perceive the form and majesty of the immortal beasts. This is not much use to other sects, but it's a great thing for our body incorporating sect. I also found out about this recently. I see. Zhang Konggu understood. The disciples of the body incorporating sect practiced in a way different from ordinary cultivators. They targeted the creation or divine Dogni's RORT practice. For TMS reason, TNEY0D survey all things, learned from their strengths, combined it with their personal characteristics, and created a divine body unique to themselves. But one cannot contemplate something too distant from oneself. Li Er often contemplated Zhang Li, hoping to create a divine body as powerful as Zhongli. So far, the Zhongli image contemplated by Li still bore little resemblance to a human. The image of the immortal beasts in the Immortal Beast catalog does not even make up 1/10,000th of the power of the immortal beasts, which was perfect for contemplation. The body incorporating sect also had a beast catalog, similar to the Immortal Beast catalog, but had not included all the immortal beasts. Li Nianer wanted to visit the tomb of that god transformation stage cultivator to see if she could fill in the blank. Chapter 97-97, Can the Imperial Palace go to the same place with us? Chapter 97. Chapter 97, Can the Imperial Palace go to the same place with us? Would you like to go inside that tomb? Zhongli returned to the heaven-ranked room and casually mentioned his plans, surprisingly stirring the interest of the red dust fairy in the tomb of the god transformation stage cultivator. Munching on the delicacies brought by Zhongli, the red dust fairy carefully savored each bite, her cherry lips slightly parted. Zhongli, fearing the food would get cold, secretly kept it warm. All immortal beasts are very adorable. I want to look at the Immortal Beast catalog. The red dust fairy, who loved animals, found all immortal beasts, whether fearsome or auspicious, to fall under the category of adorable. Especially Di Zhong, cutest of them all. The red dust fairy had encountered descriptions and representations of immortal beasts in the red dust Pure Land, sparking a substantial interest in them. However, Zhongli could hardly see anything adorable about Di Zhong, a creature without any facial features that appears as a red ball with 6 legs and 4 wings. To Zhongli's eyes, Di Zhong was just a strange creature that looked like a red egg with 6 legs and 4 wings. Why not wait for Li Nianer to bring it back? You don't understand. In front of Zhongli, the red dust fairy didn't have to shroud herself like a dumpling, revealing a face of exquisite beauty that could cause one to swoon. She wiggled her slim, white forefinger as she gently explained. In the hands of that god transformation stage cultivator, it's a first-hand book, but once it reaches Li Nianer, it becomes second-hand, and by the time I get it, it'd be third-hand. Though I can't look at the first-hand book, I at least want to see the second-hand one. Zhongli found it hard to understand the logic of a 3-year-old, but with the idea of cherishing children and not arguing logic with women, he decided to go along with the red dust fairy's thinking. Then let's go for a trip tomorrow. The red dust fairy nodded decorously, striving to maintain an elder's demeanor. The red dust fairy was satisfied with Zhongli's compliance as he always agreed with her. It was already grating enough not being allowed out, but they didn't even allow her to eat a fairy peach. What, would she get pregnant from eating a peach? Young master, let's go somewhere else for lodgings. The servant who fled previously managed to scramble back to his young master. The young master, referred to by the servant, was a somewhat unnaturally white-skinned youth. While the few people around him were extremely respectful, they also clearly feared him, maintaining a certain distance from him at all times. Uttering these words, the servant was apprehensive, understanding his master's temper of disliking troublesome matters. If he could stay at this inn, he would never go elsewhere. Isn't there a heaven-ranked room there? There is, but it's occupied. Can't we ask the guests to vacate it? The young master asserted. His status as a golden core cultivator and a feared poison practitioner in a small city without even a nascent soul cultivator would certainly give him complete liberty to act as he pleases. Poison practitioners nurture their bodies with countless venomous creatures, refining their bodies into poison through enduring numerous toxins. The young master was quite notorious and known as Poison Young Master in the society. He believed that by just politely chatting with the inner heaven-ranked room's guests, explaining the marvel of poison, and showcasing a few of cute creatures like centipedes or scorpions, wouldn't the guests obediently vacate the room? There are representatives from the Imperial Palace and Body Incorporating sect at this inn, the servant reminded. The Poison Young Master walked straight past the inn, continuing forward while looking back at his servants who were standing frozen, scolding, "Why are you all just standing there gawking? Since this inn is out of rooms, we'll just find another one." SEAHTHE November Elfire. NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The Poison Young Master's party finally found an inn and booked all the heaven-ranked rooms. The servant who had popped out from the inn spoke anxiously, "Young Master, I heard that the Imperial Palace has been searching for some tomb in the Great Way. Could it possibly be the same place we're heading to?" At this utterance, everyone, including the usually serious Poison Young Master, broke out into laughter. "Ah Lu, you're too cautious. How could a powerful force like the Imperial Palace be going to the same place as us?" Perhaps thinking it funny that his subordinate was being silly, the Poison Young Master spoke more than usual. "The lead figures of the Imperial Palace are at the Body Integration Realm, even having a transcendence tribulation stage, not to mention the enigmatic Zhang Li of the Mahayana realm above them. Would they actually be searching for a tomb of a god transformation stage cultivator? With total conviction, the poison young master declared, in my opinion, they should be looking for the tomb of a transcendence tribulation stage or an immortal. I heard that the predecessor to Great Wei was the Great Han dynasty, and the founder of the Great Han had once slain the immortal beast, White Snake. Perhaps that is the tomb they are searching for. The servants all nodded in acclaim of the young master's wisdom, which greatly pleased him. Even though these were all things they knew as servants. Our destination is only the tomb of a god transformation stage cultivator. Even though that cultivator was somewhat exceptional, there's no way it could garner the attention of the imperial palace. Read that GND, TRNNQFNRMNT and QTNCRP AltavRDNRNNRNDICRVMNVHP Thu. Might have noticed him, Achi was still uneasy. While he may be said to be a prodigy, he can only be compared to cultivators of his same level. If he wasn't poisoned and killed by our venerable ancestor, at best he would have only become a body integration stage powerful cultivator. The poison young master shook his head. The tomb of the god transformation stage cultivator that the poison young master was seeking belonged to a master who was once a celebrated prodigy. Around 1,000 years ago, this addressee greatly distinguished himself, especially with his beast-controlling technique, and was capable of commanding all sorts of extraordinary animals to assist him in fights. Moreover, he was very gifted in cultivation with praises from the great cultivators that he held the essence of body integration stage. However, the road of cultivation is never smooth. This cultivator was poisoned and fell resentfully during his god transformation stage by the poison young master's venerable ancestor. The poison young master was a man of ambition, not only just wanting to acquire this god transformation stage cultivator's unique cultivation technique, but he also yearned to learn the beast-controlling technique to merge it with his poisonous insects. Perhaps he could control his poisonous insects with more ease in this way. Alright, get some rest. We'll head to the tomb to take a look tomorrow. Zhang Li, you're also going. The next day, when Li Nianer was preparing to set out, she saw Zhang Li and a beautiful woman wrapped up like a zongzi, saying they were going to the tomb too. Why would she feel beautiful without even showing her face? Li Nianer couldn't figure it out. Yes, the weather is really hot, and we're looking for a cooler place, Zhang Li shamelessly lied, completely ignoring the fact that cultivators of the nascent soul stage are unbothered by changes in temperature. As a cultivator of nascent soul stage herself, Li Nianer naturally knew about being unaffected by temperature, but she thought Zhang Li must have ulterior motives, so she made a mental note. 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, Zhang Li personally demonstrated to me what it means to return to one's original simplicity. Then who is she? You can consider her as an ordinary person without any cultivation. My name is Red. The voice of the red dust fairy carried an ethereal and expansive essence. At this time, Zhang Konggu was still asleep. Although cultivators generally replace sleep with meditation as they progress in their cultivation, Zhang Konggu persistently believed that sleeping was more comfortable and insisted on getting a good night's sleep every day. Chapter 98-98, Simple. Chapter 98. Chapter 98 Feet Simple. It should be right below here. Li Nianer arrives at the edge of a cliff. The bottom of the cliff was unplumbed. It gave off a bone-chilling terror that emanated its pitch blackness to the human eye. To be precise, it's right underneath this position. Zhang Li stood over 10 meters away from Li Nianer. Under his divine sense, the depths of the cliff were clear as day. I'll fly you down. Zhang Li turned to speak to Red Dust Immortal, but before he could finish, she took a stance as if to dive headfirst off the cliff and jumped down without hesitation. As Big Sister Red, she's just a bit rash, her power is very strong, no need to worry about her. Of course nothing would happen to Red Dust Immortal, even without using her immortal power. She was a genuine immortal with the body of an immortal. There's no way an immortal could die from falling off a cliff. After the Red Dust Immortal jumped down, just as Zhang Li said, she didn't plunge straight down to the bottom of the cliff, but instead, she was caught by a platform. Inside the platform was a cave. There was evidence of both natural formations and human excavation. Li Nianer started to tread in midair, using the force of a step to compress the air in an instant and descended towards the cliff. This is the tomb of the cultivator of the divinity transformation stage. After walking forward for 2 steps, Li Nianer felt she touched a barrier, and a voice echoed in her ears. I am the Beast Master. I have been poisoned by evildoers. I cannot bear to see the exquisite techniques that I have learned throughout my life disappear. Therefore, I have created this place. Those who can find this place must be blessed by destiny. If you are under the age of 30 and have reached the core formation, you can enter my secret realm, pass the tests and receive my spirit legacy. those who forcibly enter will face disaster by fire. Next to the entrance of the secret realm, there were several charred skeletons. Presumably, these were by those who did not meet the criteria for entering the secret realm and forcibly intruded. Under the age of 30 and core formation were both conditions that Li Nianer satisfied, so she went into the secret realm. Zhang Li and Red Dust Immortal did not meet these conditions. However, neither of them took the Beast Master's warning seriously. If a divinity transformation stage cultivator could control a flame that could scare true immortals and Mahayana realm cultivators, that would really be something. As expected, Zhang Li forced his entry into the secret realm. The blazing flame scorched him, but Zhang Li yawned and went in. The fire couldn't even burn a hole in the corner of his clothes. SEAHTHENO Circumflex Velfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Red Dust Immortal was also the same. It seems we are not the first to arrive. Yang Li saw there were already people in the secret realm, undergoing the trials by the Beast Master. Poison Prince and his team were tormented by the Beast Master's trials. The prince, who usually dressed elegantly in celestial silkworm thread-woven clothes and lived exclusively in the finest rooms, now looked like a beggar, exposing his alarmingly pale body, with black veins showing under his skin. This was a symbol of practicing poison, and at his age, he might even achieve the 10,000 poisons body. Inside the secret realm was a vast space, mainly comprising of a jungle. From time to time, monsters could be seen flashing in the woods. These monsters were all high level, yet had not awakened their minds. For monsters, it's extremely difficult to awaken their minds without external aid. The phrase, divinity transformation stage, usually has a significant meaning to monsters. Prior to reaching it, monsters remain oblivious to logic, operating almost solely on instinct. However, when a monster reaches the divinity transformation stage, they have a sudden moment of clarity, akin to a blind man seeing light for the first time, giving them a newfound sense of reality and a clearer understanding of the world. They can understand everything, speak human language, know about transformation, not act solely on instinct, but think before they take action. The monsters that can cultivate to reach the divinity transformation stage are very few, but the monsters awakening minds earlier also have benefits. Hence the first generation of the White Marsh Emperor studied a method that can stimulate monsters to awaken their minds earlier, and with this method, he established the White Marsh Empire. The monsters in the secret realm have always lived in the secret realm since they were born, and they certainly haven't been given an opportunity by the White Marsh Empire to awaken their minds. They are the most primitive monsters, operating on instinct. Zhang Li, using his divine sense, saw quite a few monsters of nascent soul stage, which were extremely dangerous to golden core cultivators. The nascent soul stage monsters that hadn't awakened their minds had instincts to avoid danger, and they would avoid those who were dangerous to them while hunting harmless prey. Among the 3 members of Zhang Li's team, even the weakest one was at the nascent soul stage, making them extremely dangerous in the eyes of the nascent soul stage monsters. However, Poison Prince's team, even the strongest one was only at the golden core stage, making them prey in the eyes of the nascent soul stage monsters. I will disclose 3 trials, and for each trial passed, a key will be awarded. Those who pass all 3 trials may use the 3 keys to open the door to the depths of the secret realm. There lies both my tomb and my spiritual legacy. The first trial will test the affinity towards monsters. Requirement: within half an hour, there should be at least 30 foundation establishment stage monsters within a 100-meter radius around the trial taker, and the monsters would not attack you. The Beast Master's terminal voice echoed in their ears. This seems pretty simple. Li Nianer was eager to try and prepared to collect 30 monsters because she felt she had a high affinity for monsters. She walked into the forest to approach a little rabbit. However, she forgot that she wasn't wearing the jade pendant her mother gave her. The dragon's dominance inside her body was a terrifying presence to the monsters. Even without malicious intent, the sight of Li Nianer's little dragon horn and the pure dragon blood scared off the little rabbit. Li Nianer still didn't realize that she wasn't wearing her jade pendant. She thought there must be some kind of accident just now, but after trying a few times, it ended with the monsters running away. Even the nascent soul stage monsters were scared away by her. The dragon is the apex creature among the monsters. The monsters care most about the bloodline hierarchy. Though the nascent soul stage monsters are good at cultivation, their bloodline level is too low. When they encounter Li Nianer with dragon blood, they naturally turn around and run away. Li Nianer was so furious that she displayed her law body. Her vague 50-foot law body extended dozens of arms to grab those weak monsters. If these monsters wanted to resist, she flat out hit them until they didn't dare to attack her anymore. They must have thought that she was easy to push around. Red Dust Immortal also looked eager to try. These nascent soul stage monsters that could easily crush a boulder with a single claw swipe were harmless little animals to her. She loved little animals, and of course, the little animals loved her too. She sat down and took off a black silk glove. Exposing just a bit of skin was enough for the beasts to feel Red Dust Immortal's charm, causing them to flock to her from all directions and surround her. It's pretty simple. Red Dust Immortal laughed, stroking the head of a little tiger. Its fluffy fur felt very comfortable under her hand. It does seem simple. Zhongli nodded, flying straight to the end of the secret realm. Looking at the gate that had 3 keyholes, he smashed it with a punch, revealing the Beast Master's tomb and legacy. Chapter 99-99, The Diary of the Poisoned Young Master. Chapter 99, The Diary of the Poisoned Young Master. On a certain day of a certain month in a certain year, the weather was clear and my mood was good. My intuition told me that today would definitely be fruitful. It seemed like I would be able to obtain the inheritance of the Beast Immortal today. I came fully prepared for today, bringing along all the poisonous insects and poisons I possess. Even a god transformation stage cultivator would not dare touch me directly. Off I go. Pity that my few servants cannot understand why I write a diary. How ignorant. I arrived at the edge of a cliff, and after a long time of searching due to not knowing the exact location, I finally found the entrance. Turns out only Golden Core stage cultivators under the age of 30 could enter this secret realm. Although my servants have false cores, they are technically at the Golden Core stage and can enter the secret realm. I must say my luck today is great. There are 3 trials to open the door. Can't I just open the door directly? The gate was solid and sturdy. The Beast Immortal must have cast some sort of formation there before his death. Even a god transformation stage cultivator couldn't forcibly open it in short notice, let alone me, with only a Golden Core cultivation. The first test is to judge affinity with magical beasts. Interesting, I accept this challenge. Sure enough, after I poisoned the magical beast, I sprinkled the antidote next to me and the beast came voluntarily to take the antidote. Seems like the beast's senses are quite sharp. EAH the Novelfire, NET website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The second trial requires defeating 10 magical beasts of the same level as oneself. Seems to be a test of combat prowess. HMPH, how can a bunch of irrational beasts defeat me, who cultivates with poison? I was careless. These magical beast senses are too sharp, realizing that taking my blood can detoxify. After being poisoned, their offensive became even stronger. Well then, I must use deadly poison. Damn it, these magical beasts are tough and resilient. Their counterattacks before dying caused me quite a few injuries. My servants with false cores are weak in combat. They can't even win against a single Golden Core stage magical beast. Wait, how did Alu pass the second trial? What? Alu says that after feeding the beasts until they're full, they obediently accept defeat. Could it be that this trial isn't about testing fighting ability, but rather mastery of knowledge about magical beasts? Regardless, I finally passed this trial, having obtained 2 keys. As long as I get 1 more, I'll be able to open the door. The third trial is to reconcile several nascent soul stage magical beasts who are in conflict. I suspect the Beast Immortal is playing with us. Those nascent soul stage magical beasts don't have wisdom, we can't communicate with them. How could we possibly know why they're conflicting and how to reconcile them? Regardless, it's the last trial, we must try it. Nascent soul stage magical beasts are fierce. They almost shattered me with a single swipe, killing many of my poisonous insects. However, I might have figured out why they're in conflict. Sure enough, it was for that reason. I guessed correctly. It was worth all the injuries and the exhausting use of all the poisonous insects and poisons. I finally passed the test and got the 3rd key. The inheritance of the Beast Immortal is right in front of me. Poison Master closed his diary with contentment. Poison Master, supported by Alu, tightly clutched the 3 keys. They limped towards the door at the end of the secret realm. After the 3 trials, only Alu was left by Poison Master's side. Master, look, a shooting star. Alu suddenly pointed to a flying light heading towards the end of the secret realm. Boom! The sound echoed throughout the secret realm, causing the beasts to scamper about in surprise. Poison Master watched as the door was smashed open by a single punch, his mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water, his hands trembling non-stop, Alu unable to suppress him. Upon opening the stone door, what Zhongli saw was several spiritual treasures flying chaotically in the stone house. The coffin split into pieces. The skeletal remains of the Beast Immortal, as well as the accompanying beast skeletons for burial, were all shattered by the spiritual treasures. Finally, someone has opened the door. Kill him. Let's get out of this damned place. I'm suffocating to death in this damned place. Once the spiritual treasures gained sentience, they were trapped in the secret realm. They tried with all their might but couldn't open the big door themselves. In their rage, they split open the beast immortal's coffin and shattered all the bones of himself and the accompanying buried beast skeletons. Now that the door is finally opened, they want to kill the person who opened it and escape from the secret realm. With a casual grab, Zhongli crushed those arrogant spiritual treasures into a pile of scrap metal, utterly immobile. Fortunately, the inheritance of the beast immortal was placed in a storage ring and was not destroyed by the spiritual treasures. Seeing that Zhongli directly opened the door, the Red Dust Fairy and Li Nianer also stop foolishly going through one test after another. They also come here. There should be the Immortal Beast catalog. You want inside, search for it yourself. Zhongli grumbled, indicating for Red Dust Fairy to search for the book in the storage ring. On the way here, Zhongli had already told Li Nianer that this lady called Red likes magical beasts and wants to have a look at the Immortal Beast catalog. After she finishes reading it, he could give it to her. Li Nianer naturally believed Zhongli's words. Red Dust Fairy found the Immortal Beast catalog. As soon as she opened the first page, a phantom of a white-headed, red-footed ape appeared, with surprising oppressive power. As she continued flipping through the pages, more and more phantoms of immortal beasts appeared in the stone house, delighting Red Dust Fairy. Zhongli scanned the other books with his divine sense, knowing what the Beast Immortal's inheritance contains. The Beast Immortal indeed had some unique ideas in beast taming. Zhongli evaluates him as a potential major disaster for Kyushu, if not for his early death. He proposed a theory to transform beast taming into people taming. Since beasts can be tamed, why not people? Can you cultivators stop coming up with these dangerous ideas? Zhongli said helplessly. It's better to keep this inheritance to myself, and not show others. There were also a few pills in the storage ring. If Zhongli had come 500 years earlier, these pills might still have their effects, but now, they are just a bunch of detritus, completely useless. He also read his cultivation method, which is quite interesting. It establishes a life and death contract with magical beasts, so the owner becomes stronger, which can make the beast also become stronger. The beast becomes stronger, and the owner can also become stronger. When the beast dies, the owner will also die. However, for Zhongli, it's completely useless. Congratulations to the host for completing the task and gaining the inheritance of the Beast Immortal. Reward distribution. A drop of fresh Z blood to ensure freshness. It is temporarily stored in the system and can be retrieved by the host at any time. Well, it's somewhat useful. Zhongli rarely praised the system. The name of the technique for instantly enhancing burst power is known as the Heaven Burning Sea Boiling skill. Activating this technique allows one's vitality to surge, enhancing one's combat power in an instant, catching the opponent by surprise. Zhongli tested it out and found that his energetic vitality showed signs of calming down. As for that Grand Restoration pill, it's completely useless for Zhongli. The Grand Restoration pill is often used by cultivators at the body integration realm. After the Transcendence Tribulation stage, one can even regenerate from a drop of blood. Who needs a Grand Restoration pill to recover injuries? Chapter 100 to 100, 5 Commanders. Chapter 100. Chapter 100, 5 Commanders. Zhongli felt quite lucky, as he randomly stumbled across the mausoleum of a divinity transformation cultivator, which was exactly what he needed for his system task, saving him a lot of trouble. Konghu, there's no need to look for the mausoleum of a divinity transformation cultivator anymore, go inform the other commanders about it. When Zhongli returned to the inn, he found Zhang Konghu had just woken up and was in a state of confusion, questioning who he was and whether he was awake. Upon hearing that there was no work for him, Zhang Konghu, who was about to get up, collapsed back onto the bed and fell soundly asleep again, oblivious to the second half of what was said. Sometimes, Zhongli even suspected that Zhang Konghu didn't belong to the witch clan but the pig clan instead. Eat, sleep, work well. Since he couldn't rely on Zhang Konghu, Zhongli had no other choice but to contact the other commanders individually. Old Ma, you and your wife don't need to look damn, what are you two up to? Zhongli couldn't help but curse, as he looked at the spectacle unfolding on his remote communication talisman. Ma Zhou and his wife were fighting a white snake in a gloomy place. Their red eyes were terrifying to look at. They didn't look like righteous commanders of the imperial palace, but more like bandits who could see a potential fortune. It was as if killing this white snake would bring them enormous benefits. Ma Zhou and his wife were both commanders of the Immortal Palace. The two had been childhood sweethearts and were deeply in love. Their coordination during battles was impeccable. The couple, however, did have one regret: they didn't have children. The higher a cultivator's cultivation, the higher the chance of them birthing extraordinarily talented offspring would be. For instance, Li Nianer's success was not solely due to her father, the sect master, allocating all resources to her. Instead, she was genuinely exceptional. The distinction between cultivators relying heavily on resources to advance and those using resources as an auxiliary means for cultivation was as disparate as heaven and earth. The former may indeed reach the necessary cultivation level, but their battle prowess, their understanding of power, their foundations, and their mindset all fall short compared to the latter. The former had no chance of becoming an outer sect disciple of the 6 major sects. As if there was some kind of limitation, the higher a cultivator's cultivation, the harder it was for them to have offspring. This was especially true for 2 peak body integration realm cultivators. Ma Zhou and his wife were very interested in ways to conceive children. According to what Zhang Li knew, the 2 had practiced a sexual cultivation technique, drunk tiger bone liquor, researched the best positions for conception, and even written a series of books on physical health under a pen name. Brother Zhang, I've heard that eating snake gallbladder can boost virility. Now that we've encountered this white snake, Commander Ma laughed heartily. His excitement was like that of a person who had consumed a stimulant. He chatted with Zhang Li while they were fighting. While we were looking for the mausoleum of a divinity transformation cultivator, we found the remains of a white snake buried at the bottom of a cliff. It seems like it has been there for a while, possibly killed during the founding of the Great Han Dynasty. Despite being dead, its obsession lingers. We doomed ourselves to eradicate the obsession and retrieve the snake gallbladder. Brother Zhang, don't worry about us, we will continue our search for the mausoleum after we get the snake gallbladder. Commander Zhou was a beautiful woman, but in Zhang Li's eyes, she currently looked more like a lioness. No, I'm not worried at all, Zhang Li thought to himself. I'm here to tell you not to search for the mausoleum of a divinity transformation cultivator anymore. Oh, that's great. I was worried that we might accidentally ruin a mausoleum and mess up Brother Yang's plan. With their concerns laid to rest, Ma Zhou and his wife fought even more fiercely. Zhang Li then turned off the talisman without caring about the outcome. Old Huang, you don't need to search for the mausoleum, why are you crying? Via the remote communication talisman, Zhang Li saw Commander Huang sitting by the edge of a precipice, drinking alone and gazing at the stars. A single tear fell from his handsome face and dropped into the abyss. It's you, Brother Zhang. Commander Huang laughed weakly, sighed and said, after seeing so many mausoleums, I've been thinking. Regardless of all we achieve in life, in the end, we all die. Even immortals will experience the 5 decay stages of human beings. What do we endure such painstaking cultivation for? We live a fervent life, only to die tragically. Doesn't it sound ridiculous? Divinity transformation cultivators are considered quite powerful within Kyushu. Perhaps they all have their own legends and were once famous in great way. However, in the end, they all died in obscurity without any friends or family to mourn for them, without eternal glory but only eternal death. Zhang Li swiftly turned off the remote communication talisman. Commander Huang didn't have any problems per se. He just tended to be pessimistic. Unfortunately, his cultivation technique was linked to his emotions. Whenever he was pessimistic, it would cause those around him to feel the same, thus making them reluctant to approach him. This resulted in his loner personality. SEARH the Novelfire net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. And the more solitary he became, the more pessimistic he was. Such was the vicious cycle he found himself in. Old Mew, you don't need to search for the mausoleum. What are you sneaking around for? Zhang Li saw Commander Mew hiding in the corner of a wall, talking softly with him. It looked like he was in a tunnel. Would, hurry up and catch up. From a distance, a childish voice rang out, clearly from a young man who had just started his journey in the Jianghu. Understood, I'll be right there. Commander Mew turned and responded loudly. Brother Zhang, right now I'm pretending to be a Qi cultivation stage cultivator exploring the mausoleum of a divinity transformation cultivator with a group of young cultivators. Commander Mew proudly chuckled, I'll expose my true identity of a cultivator from the body integration realm when they get into danger. It feels really good. Ah, what is this? Cries for help came from afar. Not good, they're in danger. Commander Mew's face suddenly changed and he rushed over. Don't worry, I'll save you guys. Would, get out of here. These vines are as powerful as those at the Foundation establishment stage. You can't beat them. The young man saw Commander Mew coming closer and urged him to leave. No, I won't leave. We swore to live and die together. Do you want me to just stand by and watch as you get killed and then run away? I refuse to be a coward. Commander Mew ran screaming towards the Foundation establishment stage vine monster, seemingly ready to lay down his life in a fight. Would, demon, don't harm my brothers. Tears glittered in Commander Mew's eyes. He had already calculated the risks at this point. The situation wasn't too perilous yet, and it wasn't time to expose his true identity. He would reveal it when they encountered a golden core stage enemy. As long as you're happy. Zhongli silently turned off his talisman. After informing all 5 commanders, Zhongli felt mentally drained. None of the 5 body integration realm commanders gave him any peace of mind. Since the system could guarantee the freshness of the white marsh blood, Zhongli decided to spend a few more days with Fairy Red Dust. After Fairy Red Dust finished reading the Immortal Beast catalog, she handed it to Li Nianer. Since Nianer had chanced upon meeting the human emperor, she decided to stick around with Zhongli for a few days. A few days later, Li Nianer bade Zhongli goodbye, going off to explore other places. Zhongli escorted Fairy Red Dust back to the Red Dust Pure Land. If you ever want to go out and have fun, just let me know. Fairy Red Dust obediently nodded. I have found the white marsh blood, I can start on the alchemy now.